Welcome back, movie fans, to the Movie Date with Rob and Matt.
Yeah.
It's a podcast for people who love talking about movies but don't want to be too smug about it. I'm Matt.
I'm Rob.
Yes,
Is there
you
an
are.
acceptable amount of smug to be about a movie? When do you think it's okay to be smug about something? From cinematically
It
speaking.
depends on how much. If it's in a dialogue, if you're talking about it with somebody else, how assured they are about how wrong they are is how smug you can be in return.
Yeah.
Is because then it's like, no, you're wrong. I know something, and you're making things up. But you and I are talking back and forth, so we're not smug at all. That's the premise of the whole show.
We go out of our way to curtail the amount of smug.
Right.
So if the occasional indulgence of smug, if a smattering of smug does show up, it's acceptable.
Yeah. I mean, again, who's going to tell us anything different?
The world.
Leave comments.
The world.
Leave
man.
comments. Leave comments. Tell us what's up. Interact. Hi.
I did have someone on our last Jedi video tell us it's weird hearing somebody completely make fun of all of your politics while defending a movie that you think got unfairly maligned or whatever. Someone who was fairly conservative agreed with our takes but disagreed with the political takes that we took about the movie. Remember when we had Ryan on and we were talking about what would have been really cool is
Ryan, you're a good friend, Ryan.
If we had and he was like, it would have been really cool if Kylo Ren discovered Snoke starts showing him the PragerU Daily Wire portal of Star Wars, and that's what leads him down the path of radicalization or whatever. And apparently he didn't like that very much.
Oh, it's called projection. Yeah. Sometimes you don't like what you see.
And I told him well, we're glad you like our thoughts on the movie.
Yeah, hey, we like a good opinion. I'm not surprised that most of our comments are coming from that video, given that it is.
Oh no, most of our comments come from the BVS thing we did, where I said BVS is great, and if you don't like it, you're stupid or whatever. I didn't say that, but that got the entire something about you mentioned Zack Snyder's name, and everyone I feel like he's
all the parademons come out of the
the
ship.
all the haters come out, and all the people who want him crucified, and all the people who think he's Jesus Christ incarnate come out, and it's just
it's funny. It's both crucifixion and Christ.
Yeah, Snyder would like
the Roman Empire and Christ all come out,
and the Pharisees.
It's almost like Snyder kind of wanted that because he loves his Christ imagery.
He does love. I heard in a great interview of him where he both made fun of and talked about how he was raised as a Christian Scientist, or by his I think mostly because of his mom and stuff.
70s.
And someone asked him well, do you still follow any of that stuff? He's like, oh God, no. And it was a bunch of really, because he went to a really weird liberal arts school growing up where you were kind of allowed to kind of do whatever you wanted to a degree.
It was one of those early thingy. Yeah.
And
70s.
One of his teachers said Zach, your paintings, because he really wanted to be a painter. And then someone said your paintings, they're very cinematic. Have you ever thought about doing film stuff? And that's kind of where it all started. And I don't know, he talked about how that it's the goal of he was raised the goal of your life is to be as close to God as possible, and God is an ever evolving thing that you will never achieve, but you can achieve where he once was. But as you achieve what he was, he grows 1,000 years further, and you're still 1,000 years behind. It's a constant
always pushing the goalpost.
Yeah, but he's it's fun stuff to think about philosophically, but it's not particularly something I live by. I don't live a particularly devout life, he said. I don't know, thought it was funny because I think a lot of people wouldn't see him and imagine that he's a very deeply religious man. I think he just appreciates religion's impact on art and the classics.
Fair.
Or whatever. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
Little tidbit for you guys.
We got 5 minutes in.
Okay.
It's in Patriot State.
I think every time I mention Zach on the podcast, he probably is eating a bowl of cornflakes and he goes, looks around.
Oh, I heard it again.
I had that.
There's just the feeling, the force. Well, I guess since we're going to be talking about Zack Snyder's not involved in anything we're talking about today.
Not directly. No.
Not directly, but what we're going to be talking about. There's a lot of movie news. We'll kind of split it between a couple of things.
We're gonna split it between this episode and the next episode.
Right.
We're talking about the big ones today.
And we're going to talk about our feature film discussion is Prey.
Prey.
Hulu's
not Prey,
not Prey, right, or
but Prey
as in
Predator
hunt,
and Prey,
right, as in the Hulu original film, which probably should have also gotten a feature film debut.
Maybe it's pretty good.
We'll get to it. We'll get to
Probably.
it.
I mean, I don't know how the money translates from your direct release on a streaming service to like the amount of money you would have made in theaters. I can't imagine.
At that point, it's almost like for us, like observing this, it's like, well, I don't really care what their bottom line is because, I mean, the movie's good.
Yeah.
So it would have been great to see
but like
in a theater.
The box office can affect other things, like if that director gets his next passion project off the ground, or if Hollywood wants to cast the actress again, or whatever. But I got to imagine it would have done well in theaters. But that's just me. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Prey. But let's go ahead and get into our movie news.
Since we've been talking, most of the stuff we're going to talk about is Marvel related. So you want to go ahead and just talk about the last Black Adam trailer?
Sure.
I don't know what else, much more content we can get out of Black Adam before we see the movie.
I mean, like this is the nail in the coffin for me. Was this trailer? Because all the stuff I said about the last trailer, like I wanted more of XYZ. They gave me the XYZ.
They gave you what you were looking for.
Yeah, I wanted a look at the bad guy, who is definitely now like 100% confirmed as Sabak.
He looks like a devil man.
Yeah, he does.
He looks like a straight up Satan.
He didn't always used to look like that. It wasn't until like the more like recent iteration of the comics, like the last like 10 years.
He looks more like Mephistopheles, like what a cinematic version of.
A lot of people have said that.
Mephisto.
Someone said a Hellboy, and I was like, well,
no, not as muscular.
Yeah.
but he looks like Mephisto a little bit.
Yeah, and he's
without the cool hair.
He's sort of like an antithesis of someone like Shazam or Black Adam. You know, he says the word in the comics, or in most of the comics, he says the word Sabak, and he turns into that. Also, he is apparently the leader of Intergang. Very weird. Because like Intergang is supposed to be connected to like Apocalypse and a lot of alien technology and stuff. So
yeah, and this guy's very much an Earth Devil.
Yeah, he gets all of his powers from like Sabak is an acronym for demons, and it's like the S is like Satan, and then Asmodeus, Belial, and Beelzebub. Something, and then like Krates or something at the end.
It's a lot of the keys of Solomon.
Yeah,
the lesser key of Solomon.
And he is more or less equal in strength to Black Adam and Shazam, except instead of lightning, he does fire.
Because he's a devil.
But the big thing for me that this trailer like sold me on was like action. Like that's all I want to see.
Action, really cool visuals, more of the Justice Society. We get to see Amanda Waller, who
I didn't know was in it.
I didn't know she was in it at all, but she's apparently involved in this as well. Her reach runs great.
I feel like if I was the Justice Society, I would be like, I don't know how much I want you telling me.
Well, it's also like, I don't answer to you. I'm not in Belle Reve.
Yeah.
Like, well, you can't tell me what to do.
This man's wearing a mystical helmet, thousands of years old. We listen to this guy more than you. We should listen to him more than you. But
you take care of like problems in like small potato villains.
Like Amanda Waller has done coups on countries and stuff.
Right.
She sucks. Like she's no good.
I mean, unless it's just a commentary on like the CIA getting involved in other countries' business, and it's like, okay,
It could be that.
It could be that
because it is conduct. It is. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Okay, we'll see how it all plays out. But the big thing for me was we get more of The Rock's performance. Hardly any jokes that I just didn't see at all. The cool part that you pointed out is they during that big scene, the scene that we saw like over a year ago at DC Fandom, where he just Mortal Kombat's one guy, is we see them all open fire on him, and he catches a bullet, and he says something in like an ancient language. It says, "Your magic is weak."
Your magic is weak.
And then he just proceeds to Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, it's
all
great.
Of them, and it's
awesome.
It's like, mwah. Yeah. Like
he's just zip zapping around, obviously breaking spines.
Yeah, like those dudes are dead.
Those guys are dead.
Those dudes are.
He busts through a small boulder and electrocutes a guy,
hiding behind it. It's great.
It's like that's a bad boulder to hide behind.
Yeah,
too.
like, it's the kind of action that I've wanted to see. So I don't really have much else to say about it other than great new shots of like Dr. Fate.
Yeah,
lots of like more.
Brosnan's still
him.
looking awesome. More of Hawkman's kind of general visage. You get to see the Morning Star, his little flail, or his mace rather.
He has an axe later in the show too.
Cool.
When he's fighting Sabak or whatever.
Yeah, he does. I
have a feeling that's not going to go well for him. They should probably do it together. We get a superhero landing from Atom Smasher. Cyclone still hasn't gotten like a single line of dialogue. I think she gets one in that like.
She has a really cool thing when she's fighting Black Adam where she's throwing down a bunch of like spears, like a bunch of like
things to like make a little cage around him.
Yeah, and I was like, that's a really cool visual imagery. I like that a lot. It's like I can generate spears, or maybe she picked it up from like a museum or something.
I do have a prediction for how that fight's gonna go. I think they're all gonna try a bunch of physical, like, to overpower him, and it's not gonna go good. And
So
then
they have to
Dr.
think-
Fate is gonna be the one who wraps them all up, and they take him back to like their lair, and that's where he ends up in the water tank.
Right. And then it's like a worse thing comes along and they have to break him out.
Well, then I think it's going to be Dr. Fate tries to convince him, like, hey, you know, like that one trailer said, there's a great beautiful world out there just waiting for you. Like, you should instead of trying to be a destroyer all the time, maybe you should like join with us, and it'll be cool.
You could be this
and there's going to
world's
be and
destroyer
it's going to be
savior.
probably like be a genuine struggle for, you know, Black Adam's going to be like, well, maybe do I want to do that or do I want to do this? And then at the end of the movie, it's going to be he's going to make some sort of big decision, maybe like to spare an enemy or something or whatever, and he's going to totally kill them, and he's going to sit down on the throne and be like, yeah, I thought about what you said, and he goes, and I like this, and he goes, you're not fucking welcome here, so get out of my country, like, or whatever.
That'd be cool.
That's going to be I'm predicting now that's what it's going to be. That's what I hope it is. That's what the screenwriter in my brain wants to see.
I wouldn't be surprised if he discovers something about the vengeance he wants and it's out of his reach, and now he's left with nothing and is like, I have to fill this violent gap with something. And obviously I still want him to sit on the throne just being like, this is what I wanted the whole time, bitches.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of that for sure. There's the big will they, won't they with Superman. Everyone was freaking out after they were like, Henry Cavill might have been that the bunch of fake Fantastic Four news hit over the weekend. And then one of the big ones was Henry Cavill is going to be Dr. Doom. Not the worst casting thing I've ever heard necessarily, because he's supposed to be very James Bondy, but like everyone was like, boo, Superman, no, boo.
I think it's just like Von Doom needs. I love Cavill, but for Von Doom, we need someone more eccentric, someone with a bigger personality, like a wilder. Because Von Doom's whole thing is just like, yes, I'm the lord of this land, and you know, and
Henry Cavill's a little too straight and narrow for that.
he's a little too stoic.
Yeah,
it's not that he can't do it; it's just I don't see him doing it.
yeah.
And if you're gonna put him behind a fucking mask the whole time, you can't do that to Cavill. You can't do that to that handsome face.
Yeah, he would do it though. He's a team player.
Yeah, he is a team player.
But you're right. He does need a big. Who would you get for Victor Von Doom? Who's a big personality?
That's actually like would be A-list enough to be able to play that character. Ooh,
It's a good question.
It's a good question because it has to be. I don't know. Von Doom always is so in the comics. From what I know, he's so behind the armor that he's hardly whatever he is outside of it, you know, or inside of it. So you can really hide whoever's underneath there.
He's very much like Marvel's Lex Luthor.
Yes.
So like,
He's a hyper genius.
That's a good question. I want to be like,
You know who would have been? You know who would have been really good? Now they can't have it anymore because he already played a villain. Mads Mikkelsen.
yeah, that would have been good.
But nope, we can't do it. We already threw him away on Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
He would have been really good.
yeah. We wasted him being a slightly evil Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That movie sucks. I hate the first Doctor Strange movie.
It's a thud. You don't really remember it much.
It's just Iron Man, but magic instead.
And he's better in other movies.
Yeah.
And again, waste Mads Mikkelsen.
Anyway,
It's a shame.
great Black Adam trailer.
Yes.
Dune casting, by the way. I don't know if you knew this. The few people who've been cast, because Dune part 2 started shooting.
Yes.
Is Austin Butler.
Yeah, Austin Butler's playing Fade Rotha.
and
Yes.
Florence Pugh is playing,
Princess Siriana.
and Christopher Walken is
playing the Emperor.
The Emperor Shaddam.
I'm surprised we hadn't talked about this before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good casting.
Austin Walker, good call.
Austin Butler.
Austin Butler, good call.
Yeah. I'm worried he's not weird enough looking though. He's a handsome man, but he's not.
Well,
he's
does he
not-
have to be that weird?
I mean, I guess. They can shave his head and give him weird makeup. And
Well,
stuff.
I almost hope they don't, because the whole thing about his character is like he's a redhead, right?
Well,
That was Sting, obviously.
Yeah,
and the
I think
dude-
it's just
and
more that he's very almost elfin in
Right.
his appearance.
He's
Because
supposed to-
because
they-
he's Harkonnen, but that's a weird subversion, is because like all the Harkonnens are kind of gross.
right. So he has to be the beautiful. The like he's the antithesis of Paul Atreides.
Yeah.
So they picked an actor who's close to the same age. He's just getting off Elvis.
Yeah.
So
is
he's
his big
played a
deal.
rock star.
Yeah.
And he needs to have that kind of energy, because I think that would be. I think you need to do something that's similar to Sting's performance, because that's probably the one thing about Lynch's Dune that probably stands out the most is Sting's iconic look in that movie, where he's just svelte with big old red troll hair. He looks like an imp man.
Yeah.
And he's got a big old grin on his face, and he fights hand to hand.
Yeah. Okay, that checks out.
But Walken as the Emperor, splendid choice. It could be his last role, man.
It could
We're
be
getting
like,
close.
it could be like, is it gonna be like that movie is like serious as a car crash? I'm just like, what are you gonna do with Christopher Walken?
It's Denis Villeneuve.
He
He knows how to
sit there and say very little.
He knows how to utilize weird, and so I think he could utilize Walken well.
Okay, I'm down to see it.
Because Walken is a great actor. It's
I'll-
just people don't usually utilize his ability
I'm
at that.
gonna predict he says like 5 lines of dialogue.
I think he gets a monologue.
Okay, we'll see.
I think he'll get a monologue, and they'll just make it work.
Anyway, that's Dune. It's like a Secret Invasion.
So this is my first time seeing this. So this is gonna. So phase 4, right?
Yeah.
Is going in 2 directions. One is all the multiverse stuff related to Kang the Conqueror. And in the midst of it, almost the subplot of it is going to be the Skrull invasion. Is going to be secret, which the Skrull thing was a
Well, it may
huge
not
Marvel
be-
comic arc.
I'm curious if it's going to be the Skrulls, considering that Talos and them from Captain Marvel are good people.
Right.
So I'm like,
But
I'm
Secret
curious how it's
Invasion
gonna-
was about the Skrulls, impersonating a bunch of people and like fucking around with government and stuff, and it's particularly Shield.
Yeah. Or it could be a faction of the Skrulls.
Yeah, it could be-
fighting against each other.
That would be kind of cool because that plays into a lot of like the alien versus alien conspiracy stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the Greys are fighting against
Because you see in that trailer, you see Ben Mendo grabs a guy, and then all the people behind the guy stand up and turn into that guy.
Right.
Which I was like, that's really cool.
That's pretty cool. But he was like, hey, hang on now.
We're getting Nick Fury back after what seems
He's
like
the lead. Samuel Jackson putting in a performance in this.
the tone of it is what I'm in love with.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of it, half of it, like I always say, half of the tone is like 40% of it is the trailer music.
Right.
And they picked this really intense thriller, like slowly building up deal. It has very big like Invasion of the Body Snatcher vibes.
It's got kind of like 2000s spy thriller, kind of like Born Identity vibes with it a little bit too. Welcome to the MCU, Olivia Colman.
Yeah.
One of my favorite actresses, if not the most exciting actress working today, is playing somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know who, but she's playing somebody, and she's great in everything.
Pretty sure we see Everett Ross again by Martin Freeman.
Yes, we see Martin Freeman.
We see Rhodey. But outside of his armor, like he bet if Rhodey's gonna be in it, put him in the War Machine armor.
Well, there's no superhero stuff in this. We don't see any other heroes.
But
It's-
eventually, there's gonna become. I mean, if it's the Secret Invasion, eventually you're gonna need like.
it's
you're
got
gonna need to be in that
the
armor.
look of a movie, but it's not. It is again a series. Let me see if there's anything else.
Which worries me.
Secret Invasion. Well, and maybe they're just hiding a bunch of stuff too. Like they're keeping it really kind of close to the chest.
Well, what worries me is that most of these Marvel Disney Plus series.
Colby Smulders is returning. She's playing Maria Hill.
Yeah.
Amelia Clark's in it.
Yeah, I saw her for like half a second.
Carmen Ojogo is in it. I don't see any. It feels very much like what's going on at Shield or what used to be Shield.
Yeah.
And maybe it's building up what's going to be the backbone here on Earth, because we're reaching levels of stuff where Earth's importance is starting to fade.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of the centerpiece of everything.
Yeah. It'd be nice to get like an explanation as to like why is Earth so important,
Right.
at least in some way.
Other than it's where all the story's written
Like
from.
in DC, the answer was like for the longest time, the Justice League answer was like, well, because the anti-life is here. Darkseid wants his place because that's the thing that he's been searching for forever. So all of his ire is focused on this
on
planet.
Earth. And it happens, that's also where
And you could
Kal-El landed. It's
Yeah.
also where Batman was born. It's
Yeah.
also where a lot
So
of
like,
things-
I'd love some sort of weird cosmic explanation, like why this Earth? Why?
I don't think you're going to get that
Why
in
are you
Marvel.
guys saying
I think
that?
it's just going to be, hey, it's because we're from here.
Well, Kang the Conqueror could come up with a convoluted reason for why this works, why this Earth.
I don't think they have to think about it too much.
Also, we are getting Secret Wars as well. I don't know if those are those connected? Secret Invasion and Secret Wars? They have to be. They have secret in
They
them.
have secret in them.
Yeah.
Because Secret Invasion was the big arc after Civil War, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was directly after it, but yes,
Yeah.
it was after it.
It was happening in and
eventually.
around. It was happening in the background secretly
Yeah.
while Civil War was going on openly.
Yeah, and
I'm
the thing I love about it is I just love the tone and the vibe and the spookiness and like who can you? I was surprised no one was
trust?
like you can't trust anybody. Not even yourself.
You can't even trust yourself.
Yeah, I was waiting for like some line from Ben Mendelsohn about that or whatever.
It's the meme of it's been Skrulls, always has been. Someone's got a gun behind Nick Fury's back, and it's Nick Fury. Yeah. Always has been, motherfucker.
Anyway, but looks great. Just
looks
like,
great.
but it's, I know it's mostly just tone, and it could all be bullshit.
You got a lot of good actors in it, so that's a good thing. That helps. Probably, hopefully, some good
I want a
writing.
scene
with
of Rhodey fighting a bunch of people that all look the same. Just inside the War Machine chute, just annihilate.
Just
I mean, he won't.
fighting a bunch
they
of
won't because
fighting a bunch
Marvel
of
is
Agent
full of
Smiths.
cowards. But like, I want just to
Come
see
on,
him
cowards.
just like blowing them away.
That'd be pretty neat.
Think like World War Z level, like zombies crawling up. There's no way they'll do it.
Pyramid of people.
Yeah.
Related. I mean, we're jumping around Marvel a lot. We got the video. We got the picture of the anti-hero crew.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It's mostly just like kind of Captain America knockoffs.
Right, but who's the group called?
The Thunderbolts.
The Thunderbolts. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I am, but
'cause
like
it's got a lot of characters I like in
excited.
it.
I was excited, but then like
It's just a bunch of
it's just a bunch of people, almost none of whom have any powers. Like
Right.
in the comics, the Thunderbolts is a little bit more diverse of a team.
Yeah, in
I mean,
this
like,
it's a
racially
lot
diverse. I mean, they have like different levels
powers.
Of,
Most of these are just people
They're
in
kind
armor.
of like they're kind of like Marvel's answer to the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
But less interesting. But
Yeah,
like,
because you can't really do much with them because they ain't gonna be running around cussing and blowing people's
we
heads
get
off.
what Red Guardian,
We get Red Guardians back. We get
Winter Soldier,
Yelena,
of course, Winter Soldier.
Bucky's the lead.
Yeah, and then we've got other
US
shitty Captain America,
US
Agent.
agent.
And then we have Taskmaster. Cool to have
maybe
her back.
Could be anybody.
I bet you it's gonna be her.
Yeah, Taskmaster.
I'm forgetting some of the other ones.
Somebody else in that group too.
There's like two other people. Someone said Abomination's gonna be in it. I'm like, no, he's not.
Is Abomination currently like a major character in She-Hulk?
Yes.
I've not watched any of She-Hulk.
Yeah. You should, so we can talk about. Are fans sexist, or is the show bad because it hates men? Like,
I don't know. Nothing about it has really appealed to me.
you're not. I mean,
It's not. It's mostly just I don't think that I don't think the computerized animation of She-Hulk is working for me. It looks really janky to me.
it is very janky.
It looks very
I'll
close
tell
to
you- and I
just
can-
being the mask at times.
I could, and I can explain perfectly why it's janky. It's animated poorly.
Yeah.
It's not that it visually looks bad.
Well-
it's that when you see her walking next to a person,
Yeah.
and you see what a person looks
I
like
saw
when
a
they walk.
clip, and I had just watched Terminator 2 again recently, and it's looking a lot like the T-1000.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's looking very much like it's not finished.
Well, the T-1000 looks pretty good.
I'm saying like in terms of like a blob that's vaguely shaped.
Yeah, like when when you see her in a scene with a bunch of real people, and you see what a real person looks like when they walk and how they move and react, she reacts so like everything is so hyper smooth that it's not real. Like there's a part where a guy turns around and says something to her, and then she turns around to the camera like that. And I was like,
Ooh,
that's not what,
uncanny.
and I'm like, that's not what a human being looks like.
Right.
when
And
you-
it's not anything against. I can't believe I
But
always
will-
forget the actress's
I will
name.
say this, Tatiana
Or-
Maslany.
Yeah, or for Black. Yeah.
Just like it's not that the show is bad. It is compelling enough to get me to watch the next episode. But every time I get to the next end of the episode, I'm like, to what end? And nothing will be as bad as Hawkeye to me.
Right.
But like, I do think.
And I think another thing is like you're putting it up against the way that Hulk looks now, where I'm like, that looks fine. Like Hulk looks great.
I have
like,
a theory as to why we accept the Hulk but not She-Hulk's look, texture. He's got stubbly beard,
Yeah.
and his character is oversized.
Right.
She is not.
Right. She's just a
Her
taller
skin is
woman.
Her skin is so flawless
Right.
that like when you see her walking with someone, I'm like, there's nothing. It's uncanny because like we don't see anything of ourselves in it.
And this isn't surprising given what we've heard about Marvel's and Disney Plus's animation studio and how crappy they treat their
The
VFX
a lot of people
artists.
in VFX companies are like, we hate working for Marvel.
Yeah.
Because they want a million they want a million versions of everything, and they pick one,
Right.
and they give you 3 weeks to do it or whatever. And
I'm that's just from little I've seen. I don't know why it doesn't draw me. It's certainly not for the social reasons.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know what the tone of the show's supposed to be, and I don't know if I want to devote my time to it.
it's
If it was more
supposed to be-
openly like, hey, this is kind of like a fun courtroom drama,
it kind of is.
okay, then that's a little more appealing to me. I know exactly what I'm looking forward to.
But I'm also like, my big and look, the show's gonna be longer than most of their series. Like, it's not like Moon Knight where he gets 6 or Hawkeye.
Right.
where he
It's
gets
not
6.
it's not
This
a
is gonna get,
limited
like,
series.
This is going to
or-
get like 9 or 12 episodes. So I'm like, that's good because I feel like it needs it. All the courtroom and legal stuff is interesting, but for a show that's billed as a comedy, doesn't make me laugh that much.
That's a
Wong is great in it. You get a lot of Wong stuff.
People are really liking the character of it's the girl that's hanging out with Wong all the time.
Madison.
Yes.
Yeah.
People really like that character. They loving Wongers.
She's all right.
Yeah.
I think I find her to be. She's the kind of girl that you like. What's the nicest way to say
You
this?
have to put it nicely.
She's the kind of girl that would throw a drink in your face, kind of thing. So I don't really like her very much, but she does have some funny moments. I think the biggest problem with the show is that this is not going to earn me any fans. I think, and this is just my opinion.
It's not mine because I've not watched any of it.
I know.
This
I
is
think
Rob's
the
lifeboat.
criticism of the show hates men is kind of true.
Do you think it's kind of like cheap misogyny just for like go girl jokes?
It's a version of
some of the girl boss stuff that's everyone's kind of getting tired of a little bit.
I think it's a little bit of that, but I also think it's an example of like someone put it best like this. It's a show helmed by a lot of women and with a big cast of women producers and several women's writers. I don't know who all the directors are, but I'm pretty sure like Jessica Gao, I think is the showrunner /
Right.
director.
Right.
She hasn't done all of them, but I'm pretty sure. And I've seen like clips of them doing like not a Comic-Con, but like some other convention. And it's just like a big line of women. So I'm pretty sure it's a very women-centric show, casting directors, producers. And I think what happens is like when they're writing this show, and we should really do an episode on this so I can dive into like why I think it's a problem, is like they have all these scenarios that are probably real scenarios. Like I'm 99% sure that are real scenarios that happened to a woman or one of these writers, and they're like, well, you know, if this happened to me one time, and what I wished would have happened would have been, and it's a lot of kind of that. Here's a good example. The show opens with Jen practicing her final closing arguments for a court case. We don't know what the case is exactly, but we know that it's like some dipshit did something bad and tried to get away with it. That's all we really know. And she's giving her speech, and it's fine. It's good. It's fine. I would know better if I knew what the case was about. It's not one of Matt Murdock's closing arguments where it asks you to grip with the traumatizing reality of morality and the gray areas of morality or whatever, where Matt Murdock has to defend a man who is a murderer who kills a man with a bowling ball, but it says it was in self-defense, so he's allowed to do it or whatever. Like, it's not one of those kinds of things. Which I am excited to see her and Daredevil. I'm 100% certain they're going to have a superhero deal, and they're also going to have like a courtroom deal where they have to go up against the other courtroom.
Which that sounds cool.
And she's so used to always winning. I can't wait for like Matt Murdock to wipe that smug look off her face and be like, what? like Your Honor, no. Like, everybody. But anyway, she's giving this closing argument, and her paralegal assistant is like, great, amazing, boss bitch, you're gonna completely win the case, and it's awesome. And then the male lawyer comes in and is like, I think you should let me do it or whatever. And he goes, I think I would do a better job. I think juries are much more amenable to men than they are to. He didn't say something like that, but like. And she goes, you can get out of here, or I'll kill you. And Jen, because she's my friend, won't prosecute. She'll lie for me or whatever. And then the guy leaves. What that is it's the writer trying to explain that like women have to always be assumed to be incompetent by a lot of their male compatriots or whatever, or cohorts in whatever field they're in. I think that's a real thing that exists. I think a better way to have written that scenario is have him say, which is not, because I'm not saying like a lot of the scenarios are not. They're not like fantasy, like that doesn't happen to women. It's more like the way it's written is cheap. And what would have been a better way is to.
Well, it doesn't help that it's centered around, it's in the Marvel world.
Sure.
Where every major theme is kind of undersold.
Cheapened.
Is cheapened because we have to focus on the brand.
What would have been a better thing to have
We'll talk
happen?
about that with something coming up after we're done with
Yeah.
this.
What would have been a better thing?
Because again, I have no opinion right now.
Sure.
Because I don't.
You may
know
watch the
this
show
is.
and completely disagree with me, but I hate to say to give that argument credence because a lot of the people that make it are gross trolls, but I do think there's some credence to it. A better way to write it would be the guy is like, yeah, good job, Jen, or whatever, and then when she's about to do the closing argument, he steals it. He steals hers. And does it in front of everybody.
Which I've
wins
seen
the
that
case.
done a lot.
Yeah.
And that actually is a little more. I know situations where that's happened in real life.
Yeah, and he wins the case.
Two women whose ideas were adapted
because
by
what
men.
one scene does is just assumes she's awesome. Her other girlfriend tells her she's awesome. The male character is kind of an idiot, and we just like she's so awesome, awesome.
Again,
awesome.
and I think it's something a lot of people are.
But this
women,
would make
queer
her
people
both-
altogether is the girl bossing of things.
Yeah.
because we're getting tired of girl boss because it plays into that whole idea of like. You can be involved in all the toxic capitalistic nonsense as well, but it's progressive because
You're a girl.
You're a woman,
Yeah.
and it's like no, it's still part of the horrible shit.
If you did it that way, and you have her go up to him like you totally stole my speech, and he's like, well, I just didn't think that you had the cojones to take it home or whatever. And then she maybe she's about to like tell him off, but she's intimidated by him, or she doesn't have the gumption to do it, and then she kind of just like keeps it to herself and goes and sits back down or whatever. And then later, when she becomes She-Hulk and she feels more confident and powerful in herself because she can destroy anyone who touches
Right,
her.
so because she's
and
now
she tells him like,
She-Hulk.
"You're a fucking twerp, and you stole from me, and you're like, I'm gonna get you fired or whatever, or something like that." I don't know. That would be a better way to handle it. And the show is full of like little things like that. Here's a really blatant example of it. This is a person that doesn't really exist in the real world. That lawyer who the male lawyer who doesn't like her closing speech, which she does give and wins. He sees a woman at a bar as he's talking to Jen. He goes, "I see a woman over there. I'm gonna go talk to it." And then he kind of goes, and then just like lurks away.
Right.
No, I'm not saying there's not creepy guys. I'm saying like it's such a blatantly obvious thing. Like, oh, I get it. We're supposed to hate this guy. There's a subtler way of making us hate him than just being like, he's one of the most blatant misogynists to ever exist inside the Marvel universe.
Right.
I'm gonna go talk to it. Like,
Right. It's a little
cheap. Like,
right. Yeah, and maybe Rob, it's just that maybe we're just good guys and we don't do those things.
Maybe
and maybe we're surrounded by dickheads who do it all the time.
I'd like to consistently point out. I'm not saying these things don't happen to women. I'm saying there's smarter ways to write it,
Right.
or better ways to write it.
There's more realistic.
There is like the obligatory. She's waiting outside a bar. 3 guys come and are really pushy, and then she hulks out, and then Bruce tackles her to like stop.
Right.
It's like the beginning of the.
That really is good because that's utilizing the
I have seen
character
some people
thing.
say that they say 3 lines. One of them says, "Hey, how are you doing?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm just waiting for." I can't remember exactly what she says, but like someone says like only one of them ever does or says anything that's actually like aggressive or mean. One of them is like, "Hey, how are you doing? Are you from around here?" Something like banal like that. And then she says, "I'm waiting for my cousin." He's like, "Oh, whoa, we're just being friendly or whatever." And then one of them goes, "Where do you live?" But it's such a hard cut to his face, in his goblin face of
Right.
just like, "Where do you
Live.
live?" And then she goes, "Actually, I'm waiting for my boyfriend." And she leaves and acts like she sees him. And one of the guys is like, "Whoa, we're just talking, everything's fine." And then she just turns around and like freaks out on them. And I was like, I would have.
But you said that Banner stops her though.
Yeah.
So it's a thing where it's like she's not utilizing her skills in a way that are.
Well, but it's a thing that like a woman has to deal with that is exclusive to women or whatever
Right.
is the situation. But as I was watching it, and a lot of people were watching, and I was like, well, like 2 of them are just like, if she would have said like, I feel like if she would, it's a situation if she would have said like, I'm not interested, I feel like 2 of them would have gone away and the Goblin Man wouldn't have. Or something. I don't know. It just feels like we need to write situations like when we do male superheroes, we have like, I was gonna say visions, doesn't seem right. But like we have situations of like male wish fulfillment. And this feels like a lot of female wish fulfillment where like, well, this happened to me. And what I wish I could have done was turn into a giant green rage monster and put these men in their place, or my shitty boss who always acts like I'm incompetent, or not to mention she's instantly better at everything that the Hulk isn't. Like she's so good at everything that it makes the Hulk like look like a nut, like kind of a nothing or whatever. Which I actually didn't mind because I realized that the Hulk is taking it easier on her. Like everyone was like, oh, he can punch the giant worm thing from the Avengers. Like, he's always angry. But here, like, he can't stop a Jeep Grand Cherokee or whatever. And I was like, yeah, but he's not trying to destroy her. Like, he's her cousin or whatever. So that's an argument I actually didn't agree with or whatever. I like it better than a lot of the trolls will give it credit for, but I don't laugh a lot. It's billed as a comedy.
Right.
And I just wish it was funnier. But the courtroom stuff and dealing with the legal, like, things about like being a superhero. Like there's one of the people she has to do a case against is like a shape-shifting elf who made someone believe they were dating Megan the Stallion. Mm-hmm. And like that's the thing. You have to prove the man was stupid enough to believe he could date Megan the Stallion.
Right.
Whatever.
That he can pull.
Yeah. And it's like I thought that was kind of the situation is funny. There's no directly funny part of it.
It's more situational.
But it's
humor.
very
it's a sitcom.
And
kind of
the
thing.
stuff with the Abomination is great.
Because that's they brought in back to Tim Roth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's great. He's like he almost is like a serial killer who's turned over a new leaf. It's weird,
I like that.
But it feels. I think it's genuine. I can't tell if he's like a liar or not yet. And he talks about like we get a reference to the Shang-Chi fight that's in there because you remember he fights the Abomination.
Yeah.
And they were like, you broke out of jail. That ruins your chance of parole. You realize that, right? So she has to come up with a reason as to why he was allowed out of his jail. I was like, but he came back.
Right. He came back
Of his own volition,
after he lost
so we
the fight.
should take that into account or whatever. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. I do.
Sorry to
I do think that
derail
we
you
should
in
do
that
a
one.
She-Hulk episode when it's finished. I just want to see where it's all going, and I hate to give voice to criticisms that are made by people in bad faith.
That tends to be the case in our business.
And this is a
our hobby
case of
business.
where I think that the broken clock is right twice a day or whatever kind of thing. I don't think it's nearly as egregious as they might say.
Again, intention is more than anything.
Yeah.
Pulling from that to something else where it is specifically a genre-related thing that either is going to where I'm like want to be excited for it, but also I know Marvel and Disney's tricks is Werewolf by Night.
Yeah. A character that I had no idea and I thought was just like going to be like a weird Wolfman Christmas special or some shit. I don't know.
So Werewolf by Night, which I didn't even know was a Marvel thing at first until I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this is very much a Marvel thing. Came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody was really prepared for what this was. Gael Garcia Bernal
is the Werewolf by Night.
Is playing the character of Jack Russell.
Is he a werewolf?
He is a werewolf.
A literal
also,
werewolf.
I wanted to look at you like that because his name is Jack Russell.
Like a dog.
Right. And also he's very notably Spanish actor.
Yeah.
So, yes, Jack Russell from Mexico, from Guadalajara. Yeah. No, Jack Russell, the Werewolf by Night applies to two fictional characters from Marvel. It is from 1972, created by a bunch of different people whose names I don't really recall. Alter ego is Jacob Rusoff. Notable alien. He's a part of the Legion of Monsters, the Midnight Suns.
That checks out.
Basically, it's kind of a scraping the bottom of the barrel kind of character here, but
there are other characters you could also do like the Sentry.
Well, so Man-Thing is supposed to be in this as well.
Yeah, I heard references to that.
Yeah. So essentially, it is directed by noted great composer Micah Giacchino. Is going to be directing this one. It's
cool.
A film. It's not a. I don't think it's a series. An upcoming special directed.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's 60-minute special. So it's going to be like this short little. It is playing on Hammer horror, creature feature, Warner Brothers monsters, but a little gorier.
Yeah, 40s and 50s.
Well, even that, it's got a little bit of like Hammer horror going on, except it's all in black and white. Mm-hmm. It has everything I love. It's a group of monster hunters who are all brought together in a creepy mansion to find who's the werewolf among them. It's got a bunch of cool characters who might actually be characters from the comics. And
I've heard some people say this would be a great chance to introduce Blade, and I was like,
there were some rumors that Blade was supposed to show up at the end of this.
Okay.
I saw a really bad cut of Mahershala Ali from another movie where they put black and white over him and said, that's from it. I'm like, no, it's not.
No,
That's
it's
bullshit. But Man-Thing's in it. I'm mostly excited because this will introduce Elsa Bloodstone, who is from Warren Ellis's series Next Wave. And she's going to be played by Laura Donnelly from... Oh, she was in The Ferryman. That will come up in a second. So she's playing the notably awesome Elsa Bloodstone, who actually was originally created back in the Bloodstone comics from 2001, but was given new life by Warren Ellis for the for Next Wave, which was like kind of like we're the B team that everyone forgets about. And she's essentially just like a sexy redhead Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Van Helsing. Like her father was Ulysses Bloodstone, and now she's like a monster hunter.
Cool.
And I really like this character. I'm hoping that it'll lead into Next Wave. We get some Next Wave content and the Agents of Hate. That's really comedy stuff. That's more in the line of something like Suicide Squad. But
a lot of people have said like they're going to build to a Midnight Suns, and it's going to be Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night and Ghost Rider and Daredevil and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, sounds cool.
Sounds cool. I don't think they'll do that.
They'll never do it.
And Blade, sure. I mean,
Blade,
they've been holding on to Mahershala Ali as Blade for a while. Like
years.
Like, come on.
He's going to be Blade.
He needs to show up in this because other than that, I don't know why they're doing this. Like, because I don't know if they're going to have. So again, welcome to the MCU. Gael Garcia Bernal, who's a great Mexican actor who's been, since like the Motorcycle Diaries.
The first thing I ever saw him in.
Yeah,
the Motorcycle
and
Diaries.
He's been like a guy for a while now, and it's like, welcome to the MCU. You
He's
can't
also in
escape
Coco.
us.
He plays
Yes.
the dude.
Yes,
the dude
he
who's
is.
dead.
Yep,
he's dead.
Well, everyone's dead in Coco except for the
but
kid.
He's the one who he loved his music, and it doomed his family because he loved music, and then I can't remember the character's name.
I know what you're talking
But he's
about.
very good.
Not Miguel. Miguel's the boy.
Yeah. And what else is he in? He's in something else.
He's in other things. Gael Garcia Benoit. But he does play Che Guevara in the Motorcycle Diaries.
Yes.
I think that's the one. But like I said, mostly excited because Elsa Bloodstone's in it. It is definitely going for like a lot of people are getting their early geek on about like, again, it's kind of similar to what people were saying about, Sam Raimi's doing Doctor Strange. It's going to be horror. And it's like, fool me once, shame on me.
Yeah.
Fool me twice, shame on you. I know there's some good imagery. Well, no, because fool me once, it was shame on me because I got excited. Fool me twice, I'm not gonna. Fine. I'm gonna do a George Bush. I won't get fooled again.
One time, 3 times a lady.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, I won't get fooled again. That's where I'm standing on this right now. A lot of cool imagery.
I feel like
I know your games.
I would be more excited if they were like, this is going to be R-rated. Just come out like if they said that.
TVMA.
Because I'll be honest, I just watched like over the last week, I watched all 3 Blade movies because I got real bored.
Oh, you did too?
Yeah.
I watched Blade 1 and 2 recently.
And all I could think of was
we gotta talk about Blade at the end of this.
Okay,
then.
fair enough.
That'll be our
recommendation.
No, well, I have a recommendation, but
I'll talk about it, and then you can talk about it with me. Okay. But I was just very much like, can't wait for Marvel to do this and have no gore whatsoever.
The idea that they're doing Blade and they can't do anything that was in those Blade movies is atrocious to me.
Yeah.
It is so muted. He might as well just have like
that first Blade
Raiden's
came out in
electric
98.
sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the first Marvel movies that was actually
popular. Visual effects do not hold up, but God bless him for trying. Like when Frost's bloody hand comes back, and I was like,
when he gets cut in half, and he just kind of like comes. I did watch Blade 2 after it, and Blade 2 is the better movie.
Blade 2 is a way
better movie.
Way cooler looking creatures. It's dripping with Guillermo del Toro.
Good side characters. An interesting plot.
Yeah.
A lot of Del Toro creatures running around.
Is the enemy of my enemy my friend? Or my enemy. Whatever. I love it.
I like the Patient Zero character.
I even might weirdly think that Blade Trinity might be better than. If I say it's better than the first Blade movie, everyone's gonna lose their mind. But like, Blade Trinity's not half as bad as I think people make it out to be, and it is.
I think a lot of Blade Trinity came from a lot of the stuff that Patton Oswalt leaked about it.
Yeah.
That
He said
Wesley did not want to be there.
He said it's a solid C- if you look at it as it is, or something like that. But if you factor into what went into making that movie,
Yeah.
and he goes like, it's an A+.
It's gonna be hard to watch that movie, and all the times in those first two movies that Wesley Snipes is laying down and opens his eyes like sitting shirtless on something, I'm like, I know that scene in the third movie where they had to CGI his eyes because he wouldn't open them.
Oh my God, that's a real thing.
Oh
Holy
man,
shit.
that's one of the Patton Oswalt bits he talked about when he was on set. Was like they had him lay down for something. They said, Wesley, it's time to open your eyes, and he
Also,
did not open them. So they had to CGI his eyes to open.
Poor David Goyer, who
Yeah.
directed the movie. David Goyer has written a lot of movies that I love. He is a comic book like writer.
Yeah, I mean,
alum.
he's
Man of Steel, the Dark Knight trilogy,
He-
the first Blade movie.
He worked on Watchmen
Yes.
with speaking of Metal Gear Solid with
Watchmen. He worked on Watchmen.
did he not do a script run on that?
Hater.
But did Goyer do a script? Okay, it was
not
just
for
Hader. Okay, it was Hader and Alex C. Right?
He's also one of the producers and writers on The Sandman. Because
Yes.
if I would trust anybody who knows The Sandman, I'd be like, David Goyer's
S.
definitely
Goyer,
read
yeah.
The Sandman. So I'm like, it's weird because that could have led to him being a big director, except Wesley Snipes was a fucking shitheel the whole movie, and nothing happened. So
Well, the first one was directed by.
Stephen Norrington.
That's right, who went on to ruin his career by doing League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Poor guy.
And then Guillermo was the only one who was just like, goodbye, everyone. I am going on to other things.
The fact that we're not going to get a Blade movie that is like, that's full of like the thing about the first Blade movie is like I watch it and I just laugh at some of it because it's just like cops shooting out like shooting up machine guns in a hospital where anyone could get hit by.
it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, like they just
it
didn't
exists.
think we didn't have the movie brains we have now when those movies came out.
I'm shocked that movie came out before The Matrix.
Me too.
Because it's got Matrix all over it. It's got late 90s like club shit going
New
on
metal goth music playing
everywhere. But it's also weird, and it's got like the hacker.
The big fat guy.
Yeah. Don't do it to me, Blade. It's like, what the fuck? This is great.
Yeah, Stephen Dorff's pretty good in it.
Stephen Dorff's great in it. It was the first time I ever saw him in anything, and I'm like, I like this actor a lot. I remember thinking like,
he's too cool to do it now, but like at the time,
he's too cool to do it. Well, like that was when I was like, this guy, if they ever made that Cowboy Bebop movie, he should have played Vicious.
that'd be pretty good. Yeah.
If it was going to be that Keanu Reeves one, Stephen Dorff should have played Vicious.
Let's talk about Blade at the end. So let's get to our big title
Werewolf by Night is a thing. Anything else we'll talk about
next time.
There's a lot of Marvel talk. Let's get all the Marvel talk taken care of.
All right.
Is
Time
there
for-
anything else?
Nope. Yep. Black Adam looks dope. We'll say that again.
Okay.
Time for Eat Predator Love.
Right. Eat, Predator, Love. We are going far away from all of that. We're going back, 300 years?
Yeah.
1760s, 1780s?
I don't know, something like that.
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
In this film.
We're in the Dakotas, probably.
We're in the Dakotas. It is Comanche.
yeah.
So Prey is the most recent of the Predator films in the long-running Predator series, which has fluctuated greatly. Directed by Dan Trachtenberg,
Who did
he's worked on The
10
Boys,
10 Cloverfield
He did
Lane
10
and The
Cloverfield Lane
Boys.
most famously,
he did the pilot for The Boys and some
Yeah.
of the bigger episodes.
and he's currently working on something he's doing like Waterworld. He's gonna do like a new Waterworld thing.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, my man.
Just it's gonna bomb. People do not have any affinity for that movie. They don't
Oh,
even
this is
remember.
1719.
Okay.
So we are turn of the 18th century.
We're barely into the colonies.
Right.
13 colonies.
And we are in the Pacific Northwest. We are in the Dakotas, and we are with in the Comanche world, where something
There's a predator.
There's a predator there.
Yeah.
We are focused on
I
Naru.
would try to be like clever about it, but everyone's seen it. There's a
there's
predator.
a predator
Predator's
there.
in the movie.
This story could not be more simple, and it's what they do with it that makes it work very well.
I remember thinking back to like all the Predator movies.
Because recall, we had this discussion about how to do a Predator movie because we've talked about Predators and how Predators is
well, the 2010 one.
yes. Is
Which I
probably,
still hold up is a really good movie until you get to like that last act and it kind of just falls off a cliff.
I'm kicking myself a little bit because I did not go back and watch Predator 2, and I feel like I need to kind of get context here.
I feel like the Predators as a series is like it's super uneven, but you get high highs and you get low lows. Like I don't like Predator 2. They do tie it into Predator 2 because of the pistol,
the flintlock.
I couldn't care less about that pistol.
That is a wild reach between those movies there.
I love the first Predator movie, like everyone else. There's a lot of.
I think that's a fucking 10 out of 10, man.
A lot of people make some very unfair comparisons to this movie, to that movie, and I don't think that it's like they criticize like, oh, she's a tiny girl, how is she good at everything? And I was like, as if the amount of muscle mass you have against a creature like this matters at all.
We'll
anyway
get to it, but I'll go ahead and start with that. That John McTiernan movie makes it very clear that Arnie and the boys unload $1 million worth of bullets into that jungle, and they don't even scratch the fucking thing.
Yeah.
In the end, we'll get to it. I just don't. I don't get this criticism.
Yeah,
because
the theme of the movie is that you have to embrace your primal side if you want to attack this creature.
As Arnold,
first Predator,
as Dutch had to find out himself.
Good movie.
Yes,
and then usually
no notes for the first Predator. Yeah, absolutely no notes. For the first Predator.
As a great H.P. Lovecraft theme at the end is like your encounter with the Predator leaves you emotionally scarred for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. I still think that we should have found Arnold in like an insane asylum as a cameo. No coming back to teach anybody anything. Just he's gone insane because he fought the craziest monster in the universe.
I don't know who would. I mean, does he show up in any of the other movies?
No. And
yeah, Dutch isn't involved in any of the other movies.
Glad.
Right.
I'm glad
because it's like
it would feel
why?
Cheap. Yeah.
Dutch is done with that.
Yeah. It ruined his life. Or like the only way I would like it is if someone goes to him.
Well, we know what happened. Dutch retired and started working for the U.S. government and changed his name to John Matrix. And then they went after his daughter.
The only way I would like it is if someone was like, in some new Predator movie they need to like, they're researching the history of these like mysterious deaths that's happened, and someone goes,
they find these symbols and everything.
Yeah, and they track it back to a man who was in the commando units in Grenada or whatever.
Yeah, it's like they're like what do they call it when you go back and debrief? They find like debriefing files that have all been redacted.
Yeah. And you see like him being debriefed or whatever, and he's like crazy, and then you find him and he's basically like the woman from Halloween. Mm-hmm. He lives in like a fortress
Laurie
house.
Strode.
Yeah, he lives in like a fortress house.
I know they'd come back one day.
And they're like, you need to help us defeat it. And he's like, no, I'm fine. I'm gonna stay here.
The best thing you could do is have it come to me.
I feel like Arnold is a better actor than people give him credit for, and I would rather not have him just be like an 80-year-old man doing like an action movie.
No,
because it would feel more. Anyway, so Predator
Again,
1,
do
Predator
what?
1, no notes. Predator 2, I don't really like it. Some people like it.
Again, I haven't seen it in a while. It's burdened a lot by the idea that it's very heavily inspired by like, hey, the LA riots are going on.
Yeah.
And so therefore we have this really cynical idea of where Los Angeles is going to be in 5 years, where it's like Mad Max dystopia. And it's like, nah, dude, that's really dumb.
It just doesn't hold up for me is the problem.
You got Danny Glover, and he surprisingly is like a beefcake in it.
Yeah.
Like, it's shocking. Like, you think about him playing Murtaugh in Lethal Weapon, which I've watched the first 3 Lethal Weapons recently. I've been going back and just decided to do those. It's a good call.
John McTiernan did that, right?
No.
Who did this?
Did he not do the first Lethal Weapon?
I think he did. I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. But, so.
That is Shane Black, though.
Yeah.
He wrote those, at least the first 2.
Yeah. So Predator 2... It's all right.
It's all right.
It's not really anything that I'm ever.
It's too distracted with its own story. Richard Donner.
Richard Donner, that's right. So
it's too distracted with its own like cop story and like the gangs and everything before it's like, oh, here's a predator that's like fucking around.
So then we go. I don't know if you're counting the AVP movies. I kind of don't.
We kind of have to because they're more Predator movies than they're Alien movies. I think, considering our protagonist is meant to be.
Some people say Requiem is a lot of fun.
Requiem's good. It's not good with
official take from Matt.
Requiem is good lowercase g.
I also heard it has nothing to do with the first one,
which is why it's the first one is lame sauce. Yeah. The first one feels like I don't know, it just has no identity to itself. It's very cold, it's very blue, it's very boring.
Which brings us to
what Requiem does really well is it's not great, but it's essentially a gory slasher film.
Oh yeah.
It's violent as all fuck. It is a lot of creature effects. You get some really cool predator lore, and it's full of a bunch of nobodies who are just getting wiped out by like aliens and predators.
Which leads us to my.
It's the most R-rated one, I think, since like the first one.
Okay. It leads us to the diamond in the rough that is
Predators.
Nimrod Antl's Predators, which I think is a great movie that also adds to the lore. I love that we sprinkle in the lore as we go through these
I would
movies.
almost say this movie has a little more of the same vibe as Prey.
Yeah.
Though the DNA is stronger with the first one, but I think it's because it's stripped down a little more.
It's a simple concept. And the Predators are simple villains. You don't need a lot to make them work. Anything you can glean from that is good. And then we get Shane Black's Predator, or The Predator, which I just like nothing.
I never watched it, and I didn't have any really desire to do so.
Yeah, it's just it sets up a sequel in a huge ham-fisted way, and I didn't even care.
Well,
and
they
then
decided to say, fuck all
so
that.
we have like 3 good ones and 3 bad ones.
Right.
So it's a pretty 50-50
50-50
series.
And also, like, as someone brought up in a podcast I was listening to, it's like the greater fan lore around this franchise exists. Like, there's all those comics, books, video games, Space Command, Space
you
Marines.
could be the Predator in Mortal Kombat, like the new Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
you get some
like,
cool fatalities.
But it's like that.
The
There's
little
like
3-dot gun.
There's like a whole huge lore, and apparently some of that was taken out of that to like put in some of these movies.
Yeah. Batman fights the Predator. It's pretty good, apparently.
That's a pretty fun little. He also fights the alien in a little YouTube clip from like 10 years ago.
No, there's a comic book called Batman Fights the Predator. That's
that's
good. Apparently.
Archie fights a predator.
It's not the same, man.
I know. Archie fights the Punisher at one point too.
That's
not the same, even though Archie is a Marvel property.
Yeah. So that brings us to Prey.
This brings us to Prey.
I think
1719. We are going far, far away from guns. I mean guns, but I mean flintlock
rudimentary
rifles.
Yeah, they take a minute to load, and
as
and
is
they're
made
probably
as
not
a
very
point.
and they're not very accurate.
No.
I think it's
the Patriot makes those things look like you get hit one and then you just turn into a gusher. It's not quite that.
Not quite like that.
No.
Probably in a weird way, it could be more dangerous though if you're hit by one because like how dirty all that shit was.
Oh, you're getting infected like hell.
Yeah, you're gonna die.
Yeah, you're gonna lose a leg.
But I would say this is the best Predator movie since the first one.
Yes.
I've heard some people say, no, it's not. To which I say, name one better.
I don't want to immediately throw those people into dumb guy voice. I do think they're not right. I mean, like, because like you said, which one?
I will
which
throw
one
them into
in
dumb guy
between
voice, but like
is
because
better.
show me one that's better. Predator 2 is actually better. Because go fuck yourself.
It's not.
No, it's not.
It's not as good. I know that for a fact.
Anyway.
And you cannot tell me that
I will entertain
any of the AVPs are, because even if I like Requiem, that does not mean it is anything close to the first one.
Yeah, I will entertain that the 2010 one might have a stronger concept and more style to it. But you get 3 different types of predators. You get the beast predator who has the animals. You get the aviary predator, and you get like the hunter predator, and you get the uber predator at the end. And there's beef between. Like, I'll entertain that. I think this one is better.
What's this movie
Predator.
doing wrong?
Nothing.
It does everything awesomely right.
Yeah,
it's got a great structure. It's very well paced.
I heard someone say like the main character has no motivation. Like, yes, she does. Don't get killed by the predator.
Yeah,
that is motivation.
And like, she doesn't intellectually understand like what the predator is. The whole idea of like bringing home the hunt is still part of like the glory, but also it's like, yeah, she just wants to survive.
Yeah.
And fight and kill that thing. You know, if it bleeds, it can kill it.
This is a.
I mean, what's Dutch's?
Yeah.
I mean, what's Dutch's motivation?
Again, like
I'm just going to turn around and leave. Fuck this, I'm leaving. Hey, lady, you're coming back with me to the village I annihilated. And I'm just going to wait there.
Anyone who says that, like,
well, I guess they make that thing about, like, oh, you have to walk because we can't reach, like, over the border. Who cares?
Whatever. My point is like the motivations or whatever. Let's dispense with the idea that we watch these movies for like great characterization. We don't. We watch them to see them fight the predator.
Yeah.
And see if they lose or not.
It's a big added bonus when you really like the character.
Sure.
And that's what I was getting way back when we watched the trailer for it. Is I'm like, there's something about this character that Adam not Adam, Amber Midthunder is playing Naru that is very appealing. There's something she's playing this very character, very charismatic, very likable, but also very capable.
Sure.
And
Capable, but maybe a little green.
yes,
Is what I would say.
capable, but thinks outside the box. And it does not. You know, I hate to use the whole beat you over the head with feminist themes because it's like, you know, she's still treated fairly like no, you're someone of value, you're someone of use. You know, the whole like, oh, you're a girl is not very strong. It's still just like, hey, you know,
It's mostly like your brother is better at this.
Yes.
And he is better at it.
he's better, yeah.
And they don't make and
But the relationship isn't antagonistic. It's loving, but it's also like I need my time. And it just happens to come from hell itself.
Yeah. And one thing I will say about this right out the gate, because it's so simple, it lets me like focus a lot on, and I think lets the people making the movie focus a lot on like the action sequences and
the visuals.
and
it's
the visuals, but also like the I don't want to say the style, but like the design, like the design of this Predator is great. I love that big skull that he wears. He looks like the most basic version of a Predator. Like it's like Naked in the show Naked and Alone or whatever.
Naked and Afraid.
With a Predator. Like the Predators are doing like a training video.
Well, then you see like a lot of that technology that we're familiar with, but it's still rudimentary. It's like this society, of course, the Predator civilization still, you know, completely trounces us on technology, but they're still another 300 years away from beam weaponry.
Yeah.
Like this thing doesn't have like a laser beam.
Yeah.
It has arrows and things like that. And so our technology is almost similar but different.
Yeah. It has drones.
It has drones, it has bombs.
It has a big like razor shield. It's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yes,
very cool. But like when that first guy gets proliferated, he's getting proliferated by darts.
Yes.
And so this is before it has like a laser blaster, you know, like he's still like dropping off to do the thing. But because that's the whole thing is the motivation is we also know what the Predator's motivation is. Hunt and bring back glory.
Particularly this one, it seems like, because I don't know if they do this in other movies. But I'm maybe at least they got to have at least one.
I know what you're talking about.
Whereas like he doesn't fuck with you if he doesn't think you're a threat.
Right.
I don't think that's in the other movies.
That's not because
he sees the girl and he literally is like right next to her and he straight up sees her and he just like walks right past her.
Well, and that's after he kills that bear.
Yes.
Because the other thing is like,
well, no, I think she just gets away.
She does get away.
Because she's in the water and he can't see her thermal vision or whatever.
Right.
But like I think that's a new thing they add, where he only kills you if he perceives you to be a threat, because otherwise there's no sport in it for him.
This is also, because I don't know if this is in the other movies, this is hunting any kind of predator it can.
Yes.
Like that awesome thing where he's cloaked and that cobra tries to snap and he just skins it in one go.
Yeah.
So he's just...
And he keeps the skulls. Which gives you the backstory for why he has that big skull. I don't know what that skull is. Did he kill a buffalo?
He may have killed a buffalo.
Looks like a buffalo. But each prey he kills gets bigger than the last one.
Which is really cool. And we're also seeing...
start with a buffalo and then go back
the evolution of predatory behavior. Like it starts of like down that. Then he gets like... He skins like the mountain lion and all that and the bear.
The bear fight's pretty killer.
It's pretty great.
Like you get the sense that like the bear thinks it has like, oh, I got size on my side.
It's not
and then,
quite.
Like, he tackles the bear and the bear's like, Jesus Christ.
It's not quite the Revenant, but
it's pretty good.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So the whole plot is like Naru and her brother, all of which are played by Native American actors.
Except for I saw some stupid article that was criticizing Amber Midthunder because she's half Chinese, half like Algonquin or something, and I was like, this is why we can't have nice things. Anyway, but yes, all the Native American actors.
She
and actresses.
is of the Assiniboine, Assiniboine, a member of the Fort Peck Sioux tribe. She was born in the Navajo Reserve in Shiprock, New Mexico. Mm-hmm. What more do you people want?
Yeah. She's not exactly the same tribe as that.
Guess what? We a lot of indigenous people and white people have a lot of like connection because we've all fucking destroyed and fucked each other. Like, anyway, that's a cheap. That's cheap. That's like trying to be like, oh, I'm gonna try to steal your valor.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care. I've liked her for a while. She was really good in Legion, one of my shows I really like. She's in Reservation Dogs, but I don't remember who she plays in Reservation Dogs.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
That's a great show, by the way.
You told me. I'll watch it when I watch it.
New season's out. New season's a little more of a bummer, but it's still fun.
Her brother is Red Cloud. Is that his name?
You should also note that there is a version of this movie that's completely in Comanche.
Yeah, I didn't know how to watch it though. I couldn't find it.
It's on the same Hulu. You just choose which thing you want. Tabe.
Who's Red Cloud then? Where did I get that from? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's no Red Cloud.
I don't know where I got that from. Anyway, all right.
But Dakota Beavers is the actor who plays Tabe, and this is apparently like his first role.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good for his first role. I liked him. So she wants to be a hunter, and he's like the big hunter of the tribe. That's his whole deal.
Right.
And the mom tells her, like, what do you want to be a hunter for? They take care of all that. We need you in here doing whatever we're doing. We're putting stuff in mortars and we're mashing it so we can have pastes of stuff.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. We get this great shot. We should also note that this movie features one of the best movie dogs of all time.
Yeah,
maybe one of the best of all time.
Sure.
And that is Sorry. That's hard to say because it's without the accent. It just sounds like you're saying sorry all the time.
Yeah.
Wonderful dog, inspired by potentially the hunting dogs that particularly East Coast tribes used as like companions and hunting dogs.
Yeah.
Kind of similar like a boxer or a pit bull, kind of like in that vein. Great dog.
It's a cute puppy.
Yeah, it's a cute. But apparently, also was really difficult to work with.
It's a dog. What do you want from it?
But still, it's like it puts in such a great performance. Yet apparently, she was terrible. Total diva. So they have this great relationship. Autobot. I love the scene where you get like the one-shot walk through the village. And it almost looks like a shot straight out of like Red Dead Redemption. Like it really does start. I'm like, this looks like Red Dead Redemption 2 for a second.
One thing I liked about the movie, like the cinematography of the movie is so, I don't have a better word for this, Terrence Malick-y.
Yeah, it's very naturalistic.
If I didn't know it was a Predator movie, I would have thought it was just like some pretentious art film.
You thought it was like some cuts from the New World.
Yeah, or something like that.
And then a predator shows up.
And then the predator shows up. By the way, little small nitpick here, but say don't show the predator drop down from a ship. Just let him be here. Like how long has he been here? Who cares?
That's what makes the first Predator so good. Is you have to imagine people went to that movie saying, "Oh hell yeah, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's got a gun, cool." And they watch halfway through the movie, then all of a sudden turns into a Predator movie. How exciting that must have been for them.
Imagine watching the previews for that in like the 80s and then them not showing the Predator at all. Like, oh, it's like an Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie.
Yeah.
It's like dark and cerebral. Like, oh yeah, he's going to like kick some ass, take some names. And like it turns into that.
Yeah.
Such a great, we'll never have that again. Because the internet ruined it for us.
Well, and also teasers ruin it for you too.
Like imagine this movie.
Like it's people are talking about, there's a movie out called Barbarian that's like a horror movie that just dropped.
Yeah.
And everyone's saying avoid everything you can about it and just go see it. Thankfully, that's been the case so far. But like, and that was also for the other movie we'll talk about later. Nope. I avoided as much as I could about that and was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Like no one spoiled too much about Nope for me.
Yeah.
But
honestly, because we'll get to it.
Remember like when the Batman Begins trailer came out? This is before you knew what you were going to be watching. And it was like Christian Bale. It was like a moody voiceover, a couple of sword fights on the ice. And then at the end of the movie, Batman. And you're like, oh, this is a new Batman movie.
It's a Batman movie.
Like,
what?
Like, we'll never have that
again.
And it makes me sad.
Yeah. And it's because there's too many conventions. There's too many buzz. There's too much stuff. We got to tell what.
Scoopers are always on top of everything.
Everybody's involved with everything. And so we have to find out. And Marvel doesn't really care to hide all that.
Yeah.
So, but we know this is a Predator movie off the bat.
Yeah.
It's a very slow moving in on it. We get a lot of this relationship between the brother and his homies. They're all like hanging out in the tree and they're all hunting and there's mountain lion out there.
Yeah.
And this one guy gets Jurassic Parked by this mountain lion.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's pretty funny.
At first, I thought it was the Predator.
Yeah,
I was
he's
like,
just sitting there, and all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, did you hear?" Oh! And it gets mountain lioned. But
pretty good.
dude brings it back, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, I can't." But her tactics got her close to beating it. Like
Yes.
she had it on the cornered on the tree, and was going to do something, and then he
Yeah.
Killed it.
Well, she falls.
right. She falls.
The tree
tree
falls
snap.
off. And if that happens to you, like you don't wake, you could not wake up. Because the mountain lion could just jump on you and like rip your jugular out. Or whatever. But yeah, he kills it, brings it home, and he's trying to say
'Cause
like
you do it, you get to be the war chief.
yeah, and she's like, I want to be a good hunter. He's like, you are a good hunter. He's like, you're just not as good as me or whatever, and that's okay.
And if you're gonna come with us, you'll be the healer. You come with us if you're gonna be the healer.
I like writing that is not trying to be subversive or like leans into its tropes super hard. Like if they were trying to be subversive, they would have made him a dick.
Right.
So we could artificially feel better about her, or they would make her so much more skilled than him, and then he just doesn't see it because he's just too into himself. He's not. He loves his sister,
And I think another thing is like
and that's refreshing to me.
it is refreshing, and I think the other thing is like I don't think they wanted to have any particularly of the Native American cast be unlikable and antagonistic.
Well, that doesn't always work. Well,
Because later when we get the white men to show up, they're literally just French monster people.
Yeah, they suck.
They're really terrible. I mean, but those bullies are just like they're just jerky teenage boys. Like
Yeah, it's also like because
they also get wiped out.
Yeah,
like,
they've also
in a
been sent-
great wipeout
they've
scene.
been sent to bring her back or whatever. That's when the movie like picks up.
Yeah,
Because I'm waiting. Like when are we going to?
Because she's noticing the carcasses and she's noticing the big foot, and she's like, something else is out here.
Yeah.
And they're all like, okay, like whatever, like I'm gonna go piss. I'm gonna do a squat.
and then we're going home.
Yeah. And then one of the guys is like walking out there. She sees something in the brush. Oh, this it looks like just a raccoon goes by, and then you see the lasers, the little sights come up, and I noticed this. It goes for all like the major lethal points, like goes up to his neck, to his heart, and like to his gut.
Yeah.
And then and drops him.
Yeah.
I think once in the head too.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Like it knows how to kill scientifically, like very specifically about the human body.
I appreciate all the technology, but that stuff's like kind of easy to do. And if it was a lot of that, it would be boring. I liked the melee.
Yes.
Like the getting out when he fights the two, or I think like 2 or 3 Braves.
Yeah,
she's
because it's
still
the 2 other
she's behind
Braves. Because the
log.
other guy gets arrowed. It's the guy with like a mohawk who gets dropped first.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 guys are trying to take it on with bows and arrows, and that doesn't work
And
out.
then they use spears and stuff. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Some
good
good.
gore.
Oh!
Lots of like limbs getting hacked off and
Yeah.
stuff.
That shield is a menace.
Yeah.
It's a menace to society. That thing lopping heads off. It is violent enough too, without being.
I would argue that you could be a little more gratuitous. He is a gratuitous character, so it makes sense.
But even the first Predator is a little subtle.
It is. That's because it's the 80s. We didn't understand how to do good gore then. John Carpenter did, but no one else did.
I think we did.
Okay.
I think they were just trying to aim in like the horror, and like you see like. I think the gorier scenes in that, like you see the skinned corpses of the old team, like being held up, and they just look like jerky people. Yeah, you see old sexual Tyrannosaurus, Jesse Ventura's chest explode.
That's pretty good. It's a lot more practical, but I think we've gotten better at gore as time has gone on.
I also think we've gotten worse at it because we've relied on computer graphics.
Well, yes, but the people that do the practical gore have gotten better at it.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So
we know how to blow a head up more accurately.
Yeah, and make it more aesthetically pleasing to look at.
Right.
I say aesthetically pleasing.
I don't know.
It'd be horrible. But
nothing can beat like Cronenberg's scanners when that guy's head explodes. Yeah. I mean, that's a 10
like
out of 10
in the
right
2000
there.
My favorite part is that in the 2010 Predators is when he reaches down and grabs a dude by the tailbone and rips out his spine.
Yeah.
Like I want a level of he does that he could have killed him with a sword to the head.
Right.
He did that because he wanted to show him who's the fucking big dude around here.
Right.
I don't mind a little gratuity
No, I don't mind it
in
either.
these movies.
Because this
And I
movie
feel like he does
has some grit, some violence to it. That's,
Yeah.
some ooh, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, particularly like we'll get to it in a little bit, like the big French battle in that little
Right.
smoky land.
There's a lot of smoky, like nature is on fire imagery.
Yeah,
that
someone
I
said,
really
like, did we go
like.
from like the Pacific Northwest to like the French trenches in World War One?
Yeah,
What's going on here?
It all of a sudden it's like they're in Silent Hill.
Yeah, or
it's like a volcano went off somewhere and it's just like ash from the sky. I love it visually.
It looks cool, Matt. So it doesn't matter.
It looks cool, and it's a fog. He can hide in it and all that. Either way, Naru also gets chased by a bear.
Yeah.
And that's when she sees the invisible, taking it out, and that's when she's humping through the mud.
Yeah, and like he bathes himself in his blood.
Right.
like he is gratuitous. So like I felt like some of the human fights are a little too wham bam thank you ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Even the French fight, like the reason I love the fight where he fights all the French dudes is because there's a lot of them. We got a lot of cannon fodder.
They've got a lot of rifles, and there's a lot because you
And
kind of get
he's
to
not-
know this first group of braves a little bit. These guys are just, other than like the translator and the big bearded asshole, the rest of them are just meat puppets.
Yeah, I heard criticism like, "Oh, all the white people are evil, angry people, or that we were supposed to not like." And I'm like, they're colonizers, dude.
Right.
They're like brutal
I will agree.
murderers and
I will
rapists.
agree. I don't agree with it being a complaint of mine. I do think that they are literally just inhuman monster people, and it doesn't help that they just speak French the whole time because we're not hearing English. And that's fine, but it just literally makes them out to be just like.
I'm kind of okay with it.
And funny enough, I just I listened to a few podcasts about like early colonization and essentially those well-to-do, Europeans come to a native land and they become savage warlords.
Yeah,
Kind of like the Congo and
and
things
also
like
one
that.
of them is all right.
The translator's pretty cool.
And he comes back and asks for help, and she gives him the herb that like cools your body.
Right,
So
because
that's
there
how
is
she
some
realizes that he can't see her.
right.
Which I was wondering, like, how are they gonna? Because all the predators that I can remember see through thermal vision.
Right.
They can see regular too if they take the thing off, but they don't like.
But that skull,
they're
he's
like-
modified that thing to have some heat vision technology, obviously.
Yeah, and I like the idea that the predators are like they're like the dentist who goes to kill the lion in Africa.
Yeah.
they get someone to help.
They get
them,
a
like,
cool scope and all that.
and they use bait and they're using like an ultra uber camouflage.
And
like-
occasionally they get killed by they get trampled by an elephant.
But like,
It's really funny.
I like the idea that one of the predator's weaknesses is like, yeah, you're a good killer even physically, but you lean on your technology so much that a smart combatant could take advantage of that, which is usually the theme of these movies.
Right.
Is like to beat the predator, you have to become primal. It's in the first one, it's in the 2010 one, and it's in this one.
Yes.
I don't know how Danny Glover beats them.
I don't know. Yeah,
probably with
considering it's hard to do that when you're just in like
Hard to do that with like Detroit Moxie or whatever, wherever he's stationed.
future LA.
Future LA, whatever. I'm trying to remember like the second one or the Shane Black one isn't really like that. Something to do with autism.
Right. There's
autism is the key to unlocking humans' new potential because of stuff. I don't know.
it's a weird choice to be like, oh, neurodivergence is an evolutionary trait or something.
I do like the team of idiots. They're pretty good.
The only one I know is that Keegan-Michael Key is in it.
He's all right. Alfie Allen's in it.
Really?
Theon Greyjoy's in it. Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. He dies pretty gnarly. It's pretty cool.
I might need to watch that.
But
I could use.
It's whatever.
Right.
It should be better than it is because Shane Black was in the first Predator.
Well, he wrote the first one.
Yeah.
Well, he was involved at least in the script writing, but yeah, he is of course in the first one. He's one of the first guys to get wiped.
Yeah. But
he has the great line when after he tells Jesse Ventura, "You're bleeding. I ain't got time to bleed." And he just goes, "Okay," because he's aware. He's like kind of aware he's in a dumb action movie.
yeah. Let's get to like some of like the the scariest part of this movie. I love this because another director would have cut this out. Is she almost dies from quicksand?
Yeah, there's definitely some quicksand.
Yeah,
I was like, I remember thinking like, I thought about that meme where people saying like, wow, the 80s and 90s made us think quicksand would be a bigger problem. It's like,
quicksand is a scary idea.
yeah.
and you never know.
Do you know?
where it is.
I found out recently there's a frighteningly high statistic of farm workers who have died from ending up in pig bogs, which are essentially like quicksand made of pig shit. You get caught in that, and it'll suck you down, and you're dead.
That's terrible. It's terrifying.
It's so awful. It's terrible. It's terrifying and terrible at the same time. Apparently, pretty high statistic of that killing you.
Why? Where are these blogs of pig shit?
It's in pig farms. They it end up in a stream, and it ends up like in a bog somewhere. And if you can't see it successfully because it like overgrows, it'll suck you down because of the gases. Oh. Yeah. It's also the same with like mills, like
corn mills, corn silos.
Silos, yeah. Like if you hit the wrong spot like that and you hit like a
air pocket,
sucks you right down.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people die like that. And the sad thing is, it takes so long to empty. You hit the valve and it releases all the corn, but it takes so long to get it out. Like you've suffocated by that point.
Didn't that happen in
The Quiet Place?
Yeah, The Quiet
Kind
Place.
of.
I touched my ear and I was like the not hearing.
It's about
movie.
not hearing. It's about, oh God, hearing, quiet.
Speaking of hearing,
John Krasinski, Quiet Place.
We got to bring up the sound design in this movie is really good.
Yeah, I think so.
Her little tools are pretty cool. She does make Kratos hatchet. She's a wizard with a hatchet, and it's kind of cool. But she does make like an impractical like hatchet.
I'd like to address a big criticism people are making to show how dumb it is.
Is this about like how she's so skilled?
Yeah, I was like,
I don't care.
It is, but it's a dumb criticism because like people are like, why is Rey so good with a lightsaber when she's never? And then we show
it's the Mary Sue.
And then we show her practicing in this movie. Mm-hmm. Like, how is she good with the hatchet? She practices. We see her practicing with it. That's how she's good with it.
If her older brother has been like. She's been in the shadow of her older brother who has wanted to be like the war chief since they were little. I can assume she's trained alongside him.
He's so good he can hit like an eagle in the sky.
We see that. Yeah. Like he just takes that thing out, wipes it right out. We know that it's like she hasn't been sitting around doing her nails. Yeah. She's a tomboy character who wants to fight and do all that. As if
anyone could live in this time period without being like tough,
a notable hunter of some variety. But she's
dumb arguments made by dumb people,
and who don't
really want to like the movie.
And maybe that's also the argument the movie is making to itself, is like this whole civilization that they're in has been watching her try to do what the boys have been doing for years, and they're like, fine, that's just you. You're just unique, I guess. You're a weirdo. And then she goes out and proves herself because she's got something they didn't think about, which is she's had to think outside the box. It's called script writing. Mm-hmm. It's called. I mean, I'm not saying every script that has this kind of character does it right. Yeah. Sometimes they don't, but this does it right. Mm-hmm. We should also make a point that Amber Midthunder occasionally, whenever she's pouting, looks a lot like Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
She does look a lot like Aubrey Plaza in this occasionally. I'm like, I could see that.
Do we want to get to the? There's a
part, what? So
how do they get tied up again?
So
as bait, they get tied up as bait
for the trappers,
for the predators. Yeah.
Well, they are. Are they not predators in themselves?
The trappers tie them up to lure the predator in, and not knowing the predator is going to ignore them because of that.
I'm trying to see if we're missing anything. Oh, those traps, those like foot traps or whatever, are also a real menace in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
they really do some trouble. So the trappers have captured Tabe, and they're going to use him. And then is that when they have the fight, like the gunfight, where it's like those flintlock rifles do nothing to its armor?
Yeah, it does get wounded in this fight a little bit.
He also shows the is it Tabe or is it the Italian guy that shows her how to use the pistol?
The French guy shows her.
Right. It's just like, here's how you do it. Here's how you do it, just in case, because it ends up being like
because she doesn't use enough powder the first time.
Right.
It doesn't work. Yeah. Also, there's a great scene where they're hiding in the long grass, after he's killed the Braves, she's waiting, and you see the
it's hunting us.
and she realizes that they gotta get out and book, and that dude doesn't like you. It's very much like Jurassic Park. You see because he's invisible, so you see his trail in the grass behind them. It's pretty good stuff.
He comes
man.
up on that guy and just shrink.
Yeah, poor guy never had a chance.
She saved him the first time, though.
And then the brother finds her.
Yes.
And this is where we run into the French people.
Right
About this time or whatever.
Because she gets foot caught, and then later it shows up when we're in like hell, when we're in like the smoky hellscape.
Yeah.
And the Predator just lays waste to these people.
Yeah. It's good though. We needed
good kills.
It's
That's
like,
why I'm glad there's so many meat bags, because we get to see so many people get wiped.
Yeah, I've heard someone say like, oh, these characters are all just cannon fodder, and I'm like, but we like that.
We like that.
Like, what's wrong? That's the point of like when we watch, like, it's different if a characters that are normally incredibly strong become cannon fodder, like Alien. That's a criticism of Aliens. Turns the xenomorph into cannon fodder. I'm like, yeah, but.
Now, I guess
when they're all coming down a big hallway, what else are they going to become when people shoot it full of bullets? Like,
and this is what, and I will say this: I think there is a point to make, because it is different from, say, Predator 1, because in the first Predator, you get to know all these characters. You get to know Mac, you get to know Dutch, you get to know all of them.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know all their names off the top, but you get to
not
know
that memorable.
You know Bill Duke. You know. Jesse the Body Ventura and Sonny, which actually apparently there's something in the script that says that Tabe gets reincarnated as Sonny.
That's a bit of a stretch.
I think it's kind of cool.
I mean,
it doesn't mean anything,
cool,
but still. But those characters all stand out. And you're like, oh yeah, it's the great scene at the end of the movie in the credits where they all get a moment to like actor name, and they turn to the camera and smile. I'm like, that's so silly. I love it. We just watch them all get annihilated.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of that movie, you get a whole Latin American village of nothing but and Russians that all just get myrtleized.
Yeah.
They're not characters. They're stuntmen who get blown up.
Sure.
So this is traditional.
Yeah.
You know,
like I would if we watched a movie where the Predator only killed like 2 or 3 people, I would be like, boo.
Yeah, I would hate that.
Yeah, so
it's boring.
Yeah.
This is essentially a slasher movie, and I know what I'm in for.
Yeah. I think that the best action scene might be that No Man's Land looking scene.
Yeah.
But I do like the way she fights it at the end.
You want to go ahead and just get there? Because the one other thing I would say is that the Predator uses those wild drones and wipes the rest of those guys out with those weird like drones.
Pretty cool, like
again,
seismic.
Good
or something.
visual imagery.
Yeah. I did.
Tabe sacrifices himself.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was like, one last praise that isn't action or gore related. I liked the brother, and I felt something when he died.
Yeah,
which is good.
The dog has not died. The dog does not die in this movie.
The dog would never allow himself to be in a script where he's killed. He's too big of a diva.
Yeah,
he wants front billing the entire time. It's like The Rock. The Rock's like, I never smile in my movies or whatever. I'm always the coolest man in the room. Write that into the script.
I think for a while he said he never died in his movies, and then it was like, well, no, because you do in Doom.
That's right.
And I guess in Scorpion King.
It's the best part of Doom.
He's the best part of Doom.
Yeah, Carl Urban's
the best part of Doom, because we're all realizing Carl Urban's great.
Carl Urban's great.
We need to go back and just be like, every movie Carl Urban's in gets a little bit of like a little thumbs up,
an extra bump,
because it's like, hey, Carl Urban's awesome.
Yeah. Except for that movie Pathfinder. The movie sucks. You ever see that movie?
I remember that one.
He's a white dude adopted by Native Americans because the Vikings left him over here when he was a kid.
Oh, that movie.
And then they come back and they're like 9 feet tall or some shit.
Oh yeah, that movie.
Clancy Brown's in it. It's all right. No, it's not.
You're like, it's all right, but it does suck.
That's
kind of how I feel about Predator Requiem. It's all right, but it does suck.
Yeah. Let's get to the end now. What you said. We get a bunch of traps that she kind of sets.
Yeah, so we're getting into if it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah.
We're getting into, we have to use.
Also, by the way, not
strategy.
true. If it bleeds, sometimes you still can't kill it. Matt, did you know that a bear bleeds? Could
yeah.
you kill it? Could you kill a bear?
No, not,
So that
not unless
statement
it bled a
is-
lot.
That statement is false.
Is factually unfactual.
Yeah. So she uses the quicksand. She makes little things on the trees, little like what do you call wires? Not wires. Little like barbs on the trees that she uses, and those foot traps. I think that predator really gets home alone at the end of this.
That's a good point. It does get very Home Alone.
I like it though. I think it's cool. Oh, and she kills it using its own tech.
Yes, she gets the helmet from it.
Yeah.
And we get to see its ugly motherfucker face.
I didn't understand how it didn't understand that.
Maybe it was frantic.
Like, it tries to use its missiles, but doesn't know where its helmet is. Is it not allowed to fire line of sight if it wants to? That's the only thing I didn't understand, because, like, it shoots and then, like, it doesn't see the helmet over by its side or whatever. By the way, big gamble trying to get it in exactly the right spot where the helmet will light him up.
Right.
And he won't see it. Like, almost strains credulity, but I'll allow it.
It's a cool.
I kind of I was.
We watched a whole like decade of like cheap final boss of movies getting wiped out by dumb shit.
Yeah.
Of the 90s.
I kind of expected it to end with the quicksand.
And it almost does.
I thought she was gonna wait for it to come out and then just take its head off or something. But I like the way it.
I like the way it went.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything kind of ended up coming back around again as it should.
Yeah.
And then she brings its head back to the village covered in gore and is like, y'all don't know what I killed, but I killed it. And
I also brought this
I
pistol
brought
back
the flint-like pistol.
for Danny Glover to find one
Yeah,
day.
for Danny Glover to find in the
I mean,
future.
it's strange credulity that this thing would last through hundreds of years to go its way back to him, but like,
Well,
whatever.
We have to assume that one of the predators got it back.
Well, so like at the end of the
Because at
movie,
the end, there's a really great markings.
caveman marking wall thing, and we see a bunch of
Caveman. Well, it's
indigenous people's drawings.
Right.
You know what I mean,
right.
Anyway, so
It's a tapestry.
yeah, and we see multiple ships.
Yes.
Implying that more predators come back. One thing I would love for a predator,
Which at the same time, kind of like, why? It lost. You don't get to just invade.
because he lost.
Well, then
Well, like
be a good sport and say you fucked
this
up.
would make sense later. This is what I'm saying is every time the predators come to Earth, they lose. So I would like a predator to be like, what the fuck is on this planet that we all keep losing? Do you not have enough giant weaponry? I'm gonna get 9 of us. We're all going now.
Well, and also like they couldn't have always lost. Like there had to have been like a bunch of others. Like
Nope.
like
They've always-
one landed
they've
in
all
one
lost.
spot, one landed in like Middle Ages
He didn't
Europe.
come back either.
Some knight
Some
wiped
knight
him out.
cut his head off.
Some samurai. You've heard that. You've seen that.
Yeah,
That bit about the
Everyone
idea
said
of like
cast Hiroyuki Sanada as a
Yep.
as a Ronin and
as a
have him fight
Ronin
one.
who has to lost his master.
Do it, and I would do one of these. I don't want to go all like indigenous. I don't want to go overlord with the PC, but like I would love like an ancient Aztec one
Yeah, just make it like
with
apocalypto.
with like Spanish conquistadors in there
Yeah,
as well.
that'd be tight.
They have guns, right? They have flintlocks.
Yeah, they got flintlocks, yeah.
So like I would watch one like fighting in that area, and I want them all to always look different,
Yeah.
cool looking predators, new designs. They need to like keep. I like that they're always a little fresh looking. They're never,
See, that's the thing. Predators, the Predator universe should be a lot like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Just set it in a new location with a different aesthetic.
and everyone's always like feudal Japan, and they never get it.
They never get it. It's like
But I would watch one like that. I would even watch one. I guess we kind of got it like in the Old West. But I guess we kind of got that, even though like the Old West is a little bit like mid 1800s.
yeah, no, I mean, I want Cowboys versus Aliens, not the Daniel Craig movie.
Not the Jon Favreau movie
Yeah.
that everyone wants to forget. But I would watch one like medieval times.
That would be really cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, like you just have to beat him with force. Like there are no weapons. You can have a crossbow. We'll let you have a crossbow.
Well, at that point, it's like you got armor versus armor.
Yeah, but also the Predator's weaponry would be scaled back
Scaled
too,
down
'cause
as
it's
well.
another 400 years in
Right.
previously. So I'd watch something like that. What's another good example of like something that we'd like
A setting we can put it in.
Yeah. The Antarctic.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what Alien versus Predator is.
Oh.
Set in the Arctic.
We should just can we just Men in Black wand those movies out of existence?
Sure,
and take
I'm fine with it.
Take the ideas but make them better. I like the idea of like you can't.
I mean, you could really just set it just about anywhere.
I love the idea of environments you can't hide him in.
Set it in Egypt, like. No, maybe. I don't know. I don't. That's
I love the
trudging
idea,
on mummy territory there.
I love the idea of environments that you can't really hide from him in.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, how about this? How about you do
just blankets of white snow? What are you gonna do?
Like Aborigines in Australia. Like
cool.
like there's the prison camps are being built for the penal colonies, and there's a group
like the Maori. Like,
that's what I mean. Like, well, but I also mean like the Aborigines, like the Igbo.
Like what time? Like what time period would it be?
Be like same time period, like late 1700s.
Oh, I thought you meant like 1000 BC when they're fighting with like Maori clubs and like in the New Zealand, because the Australian Aborigines are some of the oldest people on the planet.
Right, but that's a lot of open field.
Yes, exactly. And also like you make them fight in the ocean.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh, swimming,
there you go.
Swimming fights.
Fighting sharks.
Sure, you make
like a great white just like goes up on the sea and just like a predator rips out of it.
We do kind of get him fighting a Japanese dude in the 2010 one.
Yeah,
that's kind of one of the best parts of the.
But he's Yakuza.
Yeah, I mean it's similar.
Right.
They're Japanese men with katanas.
With the katana, yeah.
So I do kind of like that idea.
We're all in for it, and I don't think but also, so we're given the idea that.
But I want ninjas, because I love the idea of the predator having to deal with an enemy that's also stealthy.
Me too. I think that'd be really cool.
That would like that, but maybe they don't understand that. Like, oh, he can see by heat.
But also, like the traditional ninja isn't real.
So who cares?
You can still do it. Yeah, I mean they had ninja. They had.
You know, that's not real.
Had
predators.
They had classic ninja in the allegedly very historically accurate Last Samurai. They were straight up just like
one of the best parts of that movie.
Are just ninja.
Who cares?
Do it. That's not what ninja are. They're more like spies.
But it's cool.
It is cool.
Who cares?
I know.
Do it anyway. It's like someone tells me
Shinobi's back.
Yeah, like make him fight Naruto.
There you go. Drop a predator in other franchises.
Like here's what I would love is like Hiroyuki Sanada belongs to some house, and the house is being taken out by a rival house, so they send a bunch of ninjas in to do that.
It turns out no, they think they did. But a predator killed his master, and so the house is like, now they're weak, and we'll send the ninjas, and ninjas have to fight.
Yeah, but he witnesses it happen without the predator noticing or whatever, and he realizes what this thing is, and like just a great it's just such a cool opportunity. If someone doesn't like who owns this franchise? Fox. It's Fox.
Yeah. It's Fox.
If Fox didn't look at
someone, Disney will soon.
Yeah. If someone didn't look at that and be like Dan Trachtenberg should have looked at that and looked at his producer and called the head of Fox and being like, so we're gonna like fast track this script through development right now. Let's get started on this. Like,
get it
like,
going.
Do you think studios ever do that? Like, look at what the fan desire for something is and just like make it happen as quickly as possible when it's a good idea?
I was actually just thinking about this the other day.
It's hard to think about like a good idea better than that. People will definitely watch it.
I know a bad idea that happened would be Snakes on a Plane. That movie got memed into existence, and it sucked balls. But
this is a thing that everyone unanimously
the Snyder Cut.
Well, that's not,
the Snyder Cut already existed.
Yeah, like it
wasn't like an idea.
It didn't get made because fans had an idea. They just wanted to see the next part of the story. But like I'm talking about, like what if someone was like, I have a sequel to the Snyder Cut, and it takes place 50,000 years in the future, and Superman lives inside the sun, and like someone just had like a crazy pitch, and then the studios were like, yeah, that. Can we just do that?
It just reminds me of. Like way back that some kid designed an episode of Dexter's Laboratory, and they just gave him the episode. He like narrated it, and they drew it like a children's comic.
It's funny.
I don't know how that was real. I think that was real, but I don't know how real it was. It may have been some like producer's kid.
Yeah. My point is like, do that.
Is Predator's good at that? Like, we want to see all kinds of different. We essentially just want to watch
him fight warriors from
what's
anywhere.
that History Channel series? Where they like
the Deadliest Warrior?
Deadliest Warrior, except one of them is a predator.
One of them's predator.
just
make him fight Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, Teddy Roosevelt would. Teddy Roosevelt goes down to San Juan Hill, and he's like, "Something else is here, boys." And it's like he remembers his time on the ranch.
Wallace. Make him fight William Wallace.
Yeah,
make him fight Nobunaga Oda.
Like make him fight.
Make him fight fucking Attila the Hun, Genghis Khan,
Just make it a hero.
Saladin, any great warrior from history.
Tamerlane, like just
Joan of Arc.
Vlad the Impaler.
Little too political. Like
Guy de Vries would definitely. Show
Eric
him
the Red.
Hey,
Any Viking. I'd watch a Viking one. That'd be pretty cool.
It's kind of close to what we got with the Frenchman. Not really.
No, it's not.
Drop him in London. It's foggy old London.
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, yeah.
Jack the
It's
Ripper.
not Jack the Ripper. It's a fucking Predator. I don't know why he's hunting poor syphilitic prostitutes. Like, but
Because the script says so. What's another good one?
a Predator in a big old top hat.
Yeah.
Predator on the Titanic.
Yeah. Turn of the century Paris.
Yeah, the iceberg happened and really John Astor got his head ripped off and spray painted down with
Fighting Louis XIV in his gilded palace. It's a big Home Alone thing. He has to just go from room to
gosh, that's
giant
great.
room looking for this pompous dandy. I'd watch that.
This is really good.
We're devolving into parody.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, like
Kevin Malone. Kevin from The Office.
Kevin from The Office fights and drops chili on
Drops
him.
chili on him.
A Predator in Vietnam. Of course, that's kind of just what the first
That's kind of what the
Predator
first one just is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except it's in Latin America.
Just the CIA.
It's hard to do better than imperialist Japan.
Because it's just it's a setting we.
I do
really
love the idea of like a rugged.
I like Middle Ages. I like the Gauls and the 1100s. You know.
Technically, that would be if it's Gauls, it would be the Roman Empire because
Right.
Gaul wasn't a place anymore.
That's right. It'd be the Holy Roman Empire.
But like late Dark Ages, 10,000 AD.
like
right before the
like,
Crusades.
like
or
someone's
something.
looking in really close into the Bio tapestry, and it's like, what's that right there? It's a Predator.
Predator.
Someone drew a
Holding
little
man's head.
Predator.
One of those old paintings. You
Yeah.
see like big battles and like up on the
Everybody's
tower.
spears are just
You
like
see a guy
sticks.
being dropped off of the top of
The
a
head's
mountain.
making a little like, oh.
Yeah.
You go through some monks have made like really hilarious Predator pictures.
But I'd love that. But eventually we're going to have to answer. The big question is going to have to be, we need to do a Predator movie in the future, and we need to have it be like several Predators, and we need to be it about like, why do we keep losing on this planet? Why do we come to this
Fuck
planet,
this planet.
with
We're gonna-
every time with
Or mankind expands out so far they find the Predator planet.
that could be cool, but then it's going to be like straight up war.
Yeah. And I don't want war.
Yeah,
Lame.
it might be too many of them because then a lot of them are going to become cannon fodder.
Yeah.
I think it would be better the other way around, where the Predators finally invade Earth.
Yeah, like their planet has been like
Just
has-
just like 100 of them.
like they've already had a war. It's
They
kind of
take
like
out our world leaders,
Yeah.
and we just
They had
descend
a-
into post-apocalyptic madness. Give me the script. I'll write it.
Dude, Mad Max or Predators.
That'd be dope.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Now they
good.
arrive there and they find a whole planet full of crazy people with chainsaws, and they're like, "Oh, we it's got
Half of the fucking militia people have already counting on it.
Yep.
It's like it would just descend.
It's
into
that
madness.
it's the meme that's been going around of Europeans of cryptids. Oh, look at those little friendly guys. Of course, I'd love to come in with tea. Americans of cryptids. You're not hunting this forest anymore, you son of a bitch. And it's a skinwalker being like, "I'm gonna fuck your corpse."
All right. I can't think of anything more. Good movie.
I can think this is a good movie. I've seen it twice now.
Yeah.
It's very entertaining. It's very well paced. Amber Midthunder is very compelling as the lead.
I hope
it's got a good action.
I hope it spawns something.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be. I don't think I want a sequel to this.
and I think it's gotten it's worthy praise.
Yeah.
Everyone likes it.
I'd like it to become kind of an anthology. Is the best place to take it.
All the original, most of the original cast has come out and says it's great. Jesse the Body Ventura came out and likes it.
Yeah, I saw that. Of course, it's good.
Grief Cargo likes it.
That's good. Grief Cargo. Oh, fucking what's his name? Yeah, good stuff. I always forget his name. It's.
I think Arnie likes it too.
Arnie would like it. Arnie would be like, it's a great.
It's a very good movie.
It's a good movie.
I had a good
yeah.
time watching it.
A lot of people having good time with it.
I'm just here with my donkeys.
Anyway, recommendations. Talk about Blade some more.
Yeah, let's talk Blade just a little bit because in the next one I'll talk about the movie I've been sitting on for a while. It's become one of my recent favorite movies.
Well, I can talk about something else if you want.
Let's go ahead and you want to just talk Blade 2 real quick?
Yeah, Blade 2 is pretty cool.
How about you talk Blade 1, I'll talk Blade 2.
How about you talk Blade 1?
Okay, I'll talk Blade 1, you talk Blade 2. So we're just going to have Blade talk.
Yeah.
Just very brief. I don't want to get too far into it.
I think it's weird that Blade is as good as it is, despite all of the ridiculous things in it. And when I say ridiculous, I just mean things like people, like cops just spraying bullets throughout buildings.
This is why Blade 2 works better, because Blade 1 was so broad that Guillermo was able to narrow it down.
Not to mention like all the lines, like some motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill.
It's a great line where those cops shoot him and he says,
Motherfucker,
what
goddamn
are you out of your goddamn mind? Because he's funny. That's the other thing, is he's kind of funny.
He's funny when he's not being a stoic, like staring off into the distance.
He's kind of crazy. Like he's a little
blood. Oh, he's definitely crazy.
And I like that. He's blood hungry, but there's no irony to it. Yeah. Like nowadays, when you're doing that, you got to Deadpool it up, and he's a little ironic. There's no irony in Blade. I
think there is a version of the character that is a little bit more like fun, for lack of a better word, fun in brackets.
I don't know when Blade first.
But I don't think it can be done without being R-rated.
No,
I don't think it can.
Oh God, it can't. No, like. Even though most of these vampires are getting like turned to skeletons, it's pretty graphic. Like when Donald Logue, after he's cutting Donald Logue's arms off twice.
By the way, we had dedicated a good 5 minutes to Donald Logue in this movie. He's so fun.
He's so good.
He's so stupid, but I love him.
And he runs up and immediately gets wiped out with the garrote wire.
Yeah,
it's very funny. The movie gets weird because they bring back Blade's mom and they're trying to do like a weird like incest thing with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's this doing in this movie? It's trying to do an Anne Rice thing where it's like, oh, vampirism is like deviant and like your sexual and romantic boundaries have no boundaries and all that.
Well, I just feel like I like the idea is scarier is that Blade never gets that closure of what happens to his mom.
Right.
But this movie just kind of she's in the movie for 10 minutes and then she's
barely
gone.
Think about it.
Yeah, she's gone.
It's barely a thing.
Yeah. And Frost is like, I'm the one that changed you. Like, who cares? No, just let it be some mindless vampire.
Let it be one of these like old council of Draculas who are just like total wimps.
I just love the.
I don't like that in that first movie. Is you have this ancient.
We need to talk about how Blade set a template for every vampire movie. There's a big Illuminati council of people in smug suits.
Yes.
Daybreakers, Twilight probably, but they're in like fancy Victorian suits.
The Twilight was a little more Anne Rice inspired. I mean, they're taken from Anne Rice stuff
movies
as well.
but movies like Daybreakers.
The what are they called in Twilight? The
Volturi.
The Volturi, yeah.
Yeah. That's a little more Anne Ricey, but lots of them have like True Blood definitely has a suit and tie Illuminati that just like
the old gods,
the humans or whatever.
And meanwhile, Deacon Frost is the.
Why is he allowed on the thing if they hate him?
He's the worst. He's the biggest dickhead in the world. He's just, I hate him so much. That's why I love this character, because he's a giant tool. He's just the most new metal, like Frosted Tips, like, I don't care about your rules, old man. He so wants to tell them he so wants to tell Jurgen Prochnow to eat his shorts.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised he's not wearing a Bart Simpson t-shirt. Yeah. He's the biggest baby and I love it.
But I just love the idea that Blade's mom was attacked by just a random monster.
Random vampire.
He'll never find him.
It doesn't have to be
it's like Joe Chill killed Batman's parents. I like the idea that Batman will never find who killed his parents.
Yeah. I like the thing in Batman Begins where just some other guy shoots and kills Joe Chill.
Yeah.
It was just gang violence and he doesn't get his retribution for it.
There's no catharsis in any of it. Yeah.
He's just some thug and he got killed. And that's it. He doesn't have to be anything greater. I'll allow it in the Burton verse that it's the Joker because that's just cool. In that movie,
and it works for that movie, yeah.
Right.
I like
also because they found a young actor who looks so much like Jack Nicholson, and it's not Christian Slater.
Yeah.
It should have been Christian Slater. Hey man. Ooh, speaking of trailers, that Interview with a Vampire looks pretty good. I
haven't seen it yet. Don't tell me anything.
I mean, it's just really.
I know people are mad. There's a black dude in it.
I'm surprised they're mad about that, and they're not mad about how very gay it is.
It's Anne Rice.
Right.
It is gay.
But even the original one, they're really shy about Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise.
Who cares?
Yeah, I don't care because it's vampires.
Yeah. I like it. This movie set up a lot of like kind of things that we would take and put into lots of other vampire movies.
And lots of other superhero movies too, like the coats and the metallicness. Like you could see that costume transferring over into Bryan Singer's X-Men.
Sure.
That the metallic chrome kind of like we're not looking like because Blade came out of what, the 70s, 80s?
Yeah.
He's based on blaxploitation related material.
Yeah.
Because like I know that for a fact because of the character from the Venture Brothers who hunts Blackulas only. You know that character?
Yeah, I haven't watched the Venture Brothers in forever, but
yeah, he's like, I only hunt Blackulas, and it's so fucking hilarious. But and that's the one thing is they're like, this character is not going to be a blaxploitation character.
Also, Blade's not this is the first example in popular fiction that I can think of a Dhampir.
Yes, he's a Dhampir
because he's not a vampire.
No, he is half human, so he gets, as he says in it, I get all the benefits and I get all the benefits and none of the weaknesses.
Well, you get one week. You have to drink people's blood, but
right. But he's got his own he's got his own Kool-Aid for that
serum,
right?
Yeah,
and that's the whole.
There is some blaxploitation vibes when he goes to the African black man shop in the first movie, and he's like, "You're early," and he goes, "Yeah, I need more serum," and they definitely do like a.
Yeah, like, all right, hook me up, man.
Big fellow African man hug, and then he gives him like it's got like lots of like yellows and greens on the wall and reds, and I'm like, I know what you're doing, movie. So like,
but it's also like vague serum stuff from the night because it's like.
It's like granulated garlic and stuff.
It's all kinds of stuff that like they borrowed from the set of Demolition Man like 5 years earlier. Like Wesley Snipes already there. Like I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. Thank you very much. Yeah. And this will be in my Blade movie. Yeah. It's also a bit of a change of acting for Wesley Snipes at the time because he had been such a huge personality. Like he's bonkers in most of his movies.
Yeah.
Like he's big person. I mean, he's a great actor. But he's like huge in White Men Can't Jump.
That's the one I remember the most. That was like 5 years before this.
That's 5 years, and then like Demolition Man, he's playing the Joker essentially in that. Like he's playing the closest thing we'll ever get to a black Joker, is him playing Simon Phoenix.
Yeah,
he is having a good time in Demolition Man.
Whereas here, it's a very like stoic,
but occasionally.
Those little lines, little lines of dialogue.
It's like that some motherfuckers always just want to ice skate uphill.
And I'm like, what does that even mean?
Where did that come from? I get the imagery, but
I will also say this.
The sword is really cool.
Sword's dope.
He's got all kinds of other little cool gimmick stuff. The Blood Club at the beginning is really great intro.
Iconic.
Because it is iconic. Like and everyone's
the blood. I have a small critique. The blood is too bright.
Everything's too bright.
If you've ever cut yourself accidentally, your blood is like a dark maroonish red.
Right.
It's not this kind of almost like cherry-esque red. It looks.
Well, that's a problem in horror in general. Like, it doesn't look enough.
Not always. Some movies get it.
Some movies get it. I mean, it's
Green Room. That's the way the blood looks.
Well, and also, but this isn't Green Room. This is Blade.
I know. I'm just saying. Just add a drop of black to your blood. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
Sure. We are not bringing up one of the big highlights of this franchise, which is Chris Christopherson as Whistler.
Yeah, he's great.
Wild choice for an actor, though.
Yeah.
The great, like, Americana country singer, ass kicker, lefty Chris Christopherson shows up in these movies, and I'm fucking Whistler. Like, it's awesome. Abraham Whistler. Hi, Blade. How's it going? Yeah. Do you want some moonshine? I know a guy in Kentucky gets some shine.
I do miss this era of movie making where we were just a little less scared of stuff.
Yeah, you might as well be Tom Petty. Yeah, like it's awesome. Tom Petty was in a couple years before that was in the Postman.
Yeah,
not that that's like a great thing. That movie's terrible, but
also the guns are pretty cool. Weird guns.
Yeah, a lot of cool guns. Again, like a complaint as I'm watching it is the vampire council of like these ancient. I have to imagine all of them are like have been around for hundreds of years and all that. They're all just easily vanquished.
Yeah.
They go along with all this way too easily.
Yeah,
Where are your cool powers?
It reminds me of like vampirism took a big jump. Remember that story I told you about Blood Feud?
Yes. Yeah.
Where he's like, Jesus Christ was just a man or whatever. It's some of my favorite lines in any movie or any book ever or whatever. And he's the older you live as a vampire, the harder you become to kill. He like a death squad comes to kill him and he kills all of them.
Right.
And he tells one of them, "I'm going to show you what you've been missing your whole life," and he lets him watch. They do the same thing here, but like he makes a man watch the sunrise, but it burns one of them alive, but him it just kind of like chars his skin up a little bit, but he lives through it.
Because also this is the dumb thing where it's like it's kind of dumb where it's like we have like sunscreen that's good enough that we can walk around. And I'm like,
that's not how that works.
I'm like, no, you don't. What SPF is that?
I would have bought that more if his skin started smoking a little
right.
bit as he's talking. Because Wesley Snipes says to him, "Your mascara's running."
Yeah.
Whatever.
Or if he had to wear like a dumb like hockey mask or something, or some kind of Hollow Man mask or something.
Which they do. They wear motorcycle helmets.
Yeah, they wear those cool motorcycle cool.
Yeah.
Very
Cool
90s,
brackets,
very 90s motorcycle helmets.
They hold hands as he burns to death.
Oh,
True love.
Jurgen Prochnow dies nasty in this movie as he gets burnt up.
But
they throw a coup on this vampire council, and then fucking Bart Simpson shows back up again, kicks his feet up. It's, "You guys are answering to me now, Dick and Frost."
Yeah, I love. I wish there were more cool vampire powers.
Yeah.
We do get a little bit of super speed when he becomes Lamagra or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, cool plot for the 90s. Become a vampire god.
Yeah, and it's also
they didn't have the money to make that to sell that.
Well, and also like it's a good one-off too, because the Lamagra thing doesn't need to go anywhere else from there.
But it should be like your big bad guy of like a trilogy or something. In my
well,
opinion.
I mean,
if we were making, today.
Isn't it the big bad guy is in Blade 3? It's fucking Dracula.
Maybe.
Who's Dracula in that movie again?
Dominic Purcell, Firefly. He's like he's Fire or whatever from Legends of Tomorrow and Prison Break.
He's Prison Break. That's
The sword fighting is hilarious. There's a great sword.
Oh, when he's just like chop 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 chop.
When him and Frost are fighting, it's just
tick 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 tick.
Just like left right left right. Left,
Again,
right. It's so bad
if this movie had been made a year after The Matrix,
we would have made fun of it.
Well, he would have been doing like dodging blades.
Like even the fight scenes, like it's a little ham-fisted and it's a little like over stylized for the 90s. Mm-hmm. Blade 2 is going to take all these things and streamline them, but also give them a little more unique weirdness. Yeah,
which is what it needed. Like it's too Blade 1 is too clean.
Speaking of which, let's get to Blade 2.
Let's get to Blade 2. The dumb Whistler thing where it's like he dies but he doesn't.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
he totally
dies.
Give me the gun.
Give me the gun. And he shoots himself, and then
walk away.
And then like
I'm back in the next movie. Baby.
They had to have left that up. Just be like, well, you're not out of contract yet, so we're gonna fake kill you.
All right.
So we end up in a better movie. At the end, there is that really cool part at the end where Wesley Snipes is still hunting down vampires, and he's in Russia.
Sure, why not?
He's just like, "Sup, comrade?" And they fight.
Yeah, good stuff.
No one can hold his sword because it just keeps cutting Donald Logue's hand off.
It's great.
It's really funny.
One vampire gets turned into a zombie man.
The nurse. Mm-hmm. He becomes there's also the familiar. There's the cop who's a familiar. We get introduced to the idea of the familiars.
Good world building.
Yep. Not much done with it.
We're not going to get that in Marvel.
You know, it would have been cool if like the Vampire Council was like, "Hey, do you know who's all our familiars? All the world leaders." Like the president's my familiar, the prime minister's my familiar.
Nah, it's a little too strange.
It's a little too much.
Too much credulity.
Okay, I think that might be cool. You've been loving that word today.
Strange credulity.
Yeah,
means when something's a little too much to believe or whatever.
Enough.
But
so Blade 2.
But I do like the idea that like vampirism sometimes doesn't always take. Sometimes it turns you. Sometimes you get a blade. Sometimes you get this crazy monster.
Right. Sometimes you just get a zombie.
Who is a
and at one point they make the line. Sometimes they kill vampires.
Yeah.
Sometimes they eat vampires.
Yeah.
Also, we get set up of what works and what doesn't. Crosses don't do shit. Garlic works.
Silver
works. So it's very non-religious vampire world. These are vampires of the 90s, baby. God has nothing to do with this.
I actually don't necessarily like that. I like the idea that in a lot of in Blood Feud, he talks about like there are things in this world that even I don't understand. I've been alive for 2,500 years, and he goes, but I do remember the time a crusader came after me with a holy sword, and I still have the scar, and it never healed.
I don't
And
know why
I
that
don't know
works.
what happened.
I don't believe in God, but something out there.
And he goes, but I do. And he goes, as I've lived, the longer I live, the more I feel like there is a hole inside me, like something was taken from me. So that has to be connected to something or whatever. I don't like dismissing the mystical aspects of it so quickly.
Well, that's the problem with this trilogy is it's techno thriller.
Yeah.
We are divorced from God's realm. We are now in the realm of computers.
Which I think that like and like or like viruses and stuff and like science.
Yep.
Like that's what Blade 2 is about.
Because it's
like,
all about like it's a virus, a vampirism is an infection.
Yeah.
You know, especially in Blade 2.
Yeah.
Like we said, we see like the patient Zero.
I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a famous actor.
He's a famous
I
actor.
don't know if he's a famous actor. He's an actor. He's an actor.
He's an actor of the time.
Yeah. He was also in Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
So he's
Prince Niswada or whatever his name is.
So he's one of
Del
Toro's guys then.
Dudes. He's not Doug Jones.
No, he's not Doug Jones.
He's too muscular to be
Also
Doug.
2002.
Yeah.
Quite a few years.
4 years from the first Blade.
Also Blade was written by Marv Wolfman.
Mm-hmm.
Great name.
Yeah.
I just got to say that's a really
Marv
great
Wolfman
name.
and George Perez, fathers of the Teen Titans.
Oh yeah, you're right. Trying to see who this.
Marv Wolfman and George Perez are also the people who are responsible for like making Wonder Woman, like bringing her into the modern era.
Is it Thomas Kretschmann
Probably.
who plays Eli? No, that's the old vampire. It's Namek Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Luke Goss.
Yeah. That guy.
Oh yeah, he's had a career. He's fine.
But he's really cool.
Now, Thomas Kretschmann plays Damascus.
Yeah.
And he most recently was Baron von Strucker.
Yeah.
And
Let's talk about Blade 2.
let's play about Blade 2.
Everything about Blade 1 is better in Blade 2. From the action, do we get the knife whip?
Yep.
Yeah. It's good.
We get again, the world building is a lot stronger. It's a lot more concentrated. We get some more
We get
weird.
Donnie Yen until he's murdered pathetically off screen.
Yeah, it really sucks.
Really waste of such a good
He's
character.
blind and like he's supposed to be like a master swordsman. We never see him do it.
Yeah, lame.
Because
Boo.
the one guy gets
Ron Perlman survives, but not Donnie Yen.
Yeah, Ron Perlman survives up until he gets gloriously sliced in half.
Yeah.
Because usually like when Perlman shows up in something, I'm like, okay, he's a bad guy at first, but he's gonna make a turn. No, he's just an asshole the entire time.
Yeah.
So the thing is, a new infection of big-mouthed parasite vampires has broken out, and now the vampires are like, they go to Blade to be like, you're the only guy we know that can fix this.
About 12 years prior to Del Toro making The Strain, if you've never watched.
It's the same.
Just like weird, crazy, mythical vampire stuff. You ever watch that show?
No, I've heard it's good though.
Very good.
He did a book about it too.
Yeah. There's a part where a vampire crushes a dude's head by just like putting all his weight on it. It's pretty gross.
Neat.
They're also like giant, weird-looking creatures of nightmares. Like anyway.
Cool.
Yeah.
But so the vampires. There's that really cool scene. So Whistler survives
somehow.
Well, no, they kidnap him. Like these vampires kidnap him.
I guess, yeah.
Because
they tried to turn him, and he uses the cure on him or something.
Something like that.
I don't fucking know.
He's like in a weird like cross thing, and Blade breaks him out and takes him back, and now he's letting Norman Reedus hang out there.
Oh yeah, Norman Reedus is in this movie for like.
He's in it frequently. Yeah. Like he's up until the point where he just like reveals that he's been a turncoat the whole time.
Oh no, not you, Norman.
Yeah.
Norman Reedus has always looked 41 years old.
I remember him being way more likable in this. He's not.
No.
He is total trash the entire movie, but it works. He's just a jerk the entire time, and so you don't feel bad when he finally blows up.
One bad thing about this movie, it was 2002. It was that era where we were having CGI fights, CGI double fights. Mm-hmm. They have like a big weird CGI fight in the beginning of this movie. Where they just turn into rubbery people and fight each other.
Oh, yeah.
When they're fighting
God.
swords.
Yeah. Oh, I remember now because I remember watching it and I was like, Wesley Snipes was like a PlayStation 2.
Yeah. For for 30 seconds.
Way too long.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it in the back. It's like a wall of lights, and he looks he looks like an Xbox character.
Yeah.
It is embarrassing.
We don't get a lot of that.
Yeah, that's probably why they did that. Just because it's like because it's the two vampires. One is Naisa, who is Damascus's daughter,
and the other one is the other guy. I can't remember.
Is the other guy, the kind of second in command, and they're dressed in ninja outfits that are similar to something from Hellboy.
Yeah,
they got but they're also hissing. Like there's, so you're like, what the fuck is underneath those things?
But I appreciate the style of it all.
It's great.
It's very Del Toro.
Immediately, it's Del Toro because like he loves his gas masks, and those things look very gas maskian.
Yeah.
And they're like, and then they take off the gas masks like, oh, we're just regular vampires.
What I can't remember
did you think we were rat people or something? Because it sure sounded like
what
it.
What does Namek want again?
He wants to destroy vampirism.
Yes.
And also he's Damascus' son?
I think so.
Because it's like, it's a prodigal son sort of situation. Like, you came to take my... Because it turns out, like, Damascus, who lives in a giant obelisk, like, he lives in, like, Tyrell Industries, and eventually is just like, Blade, thank you for coming. I need you, the enemy of my enemy. And then he's like, I secretly am orchestrating all of this to reach the new phase of evolution. Oh, no, he wants Blade's blood.
Oh, yeah?
Because they put him on that little thing and the spikes come up.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They put him on like a little Iron Maiden bed and the little spikes come up and start draining Blade's blood. Because like, once we get that and we get the other guy's blood and we coagulate together, we'll create perfection. Because then it's like, oh, then we get like the superpowers, we get the immortality, we get all the invulnerability that Blade has to all of our usual weaknesses, and we have like the alpha predators. So his whole thing is like genetic.
Checks out.
Damascus' whole thing is like genetic perfection. Like he's trying to, he's like, I'll let the rest of the vampires die off.
He's kind of a Nazi.
Yeah, it checks out.
Played by a German man. Checks out. You were talking about Blade Trinity?
Well, I mean, there's not much. I mean, there's a lot to say about Blade 2. Mm-hmm. It's just cool as hell.
It is. It's everything like
you get a
first
squad.
One.
You get a really cool squad. I like a squad. They don't get to do much.
No, they get killed really quickly.
Yeah, that really sucks.
There's a big guy with a hammer. It's kind of garbage.
Yeah, there's.
They have great personality, but they don't do anything.
They don't do anything. I don't know what Del Toro was thinking.
Like
there's a tragic ending where Blade. You think Blade's gonna get Blade, and he doesn't. She dies, and like he like turns the lights on, and she evaporates. Yeah. He does not get Blade.
I know what you're doing right now.
I know. I thought about it. I think it's funny.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie. It's the best of the three.
Yeah, I think so.
I have no opinions on Blade 3 because I haven't watched it in like 15 years.
I do remember it being
the only thing I
funny.
remember from it is Ryan Reynolds saying, "You cock guzzling thunder cunt."
Well, I just remember like
that's all I remember from it.
I remember more than that. I remember like
because it's him and who's the vampire hunter girl, Whistler's daughter.
It's Justin Timberlake's lady. Oh God, it's oh no, what's her name? Jessica Biel.
I was gonna say it's Jessica Biel, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a really good cast.
They're a good team. Like
Gosling, not Gosling.
Reynolds.
Reynolds is great. He's Hannibal King,
who might be coming back for. No, Ryan Reynolds won't be, but like the character might be making an appearance in the new Blade movie.
Is Triple H in this movie?
Yes.
Paul Levesque is in this movie. Mm-hmm. Okay, I kind of want to rewatch it just for Triple H.
It's
James Remar, Patton Oswalt, as we mentioned earlier. Eric Bogosian. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you know Eric Bogosian is playing the Christian Slater character in this Interview with a Vampire? He's giving the interview to the vampire.
I did not know
it's Eric Bogosian.
It's pretty good.
I was like, oh, it's Eric Bogosian.
Vampires are cool.
Vampires are neat.
Except when they're not. Dominic Purcell plays Dracula because we got to go to the top. It can't be anything else but King Dracula. Yeah.
And sometimes, depending on what world you're in, Dracula is Judas. Like you may just
Dracula 2000. I remember that.
Well, even like Bram Stoker's Dracula kind of teases that religious connection with and so does Helsing.
Like, oh, the anime.
Right, Hellsing
I think, like, the
Ultimate
movie
has some like Jesus background to it.
Yeah. Do you lament vampires being taken so hard into like the action genre that we've gotten away from the moody, like?
I think we're coming back around to it though.
Yeah.
And I think what happened was vampires came in waves, and like, because you get, I mean, not counting Dracula, obviously, and not counting the Hammer horrors of Christopher Lee, but you get in the 80s and you get The Lost Boys.
Good movie.
You get
So underrated.
what is it? Until Dark.
Near Dark.
Near Dark, the Catherine Bigelow movie. And then you kind of just have you get Fright Night, and you get Monster Squad. Monster Squad probably being the least. So you get vampires are everywhere. But then Anne Rice's book series becomes popular, and they do Interview with a Vampire, and vampires are now gothic and sexy again, and they're really
I just
and that movie was prestigious. It was.
I just want to have my cake
Stephen
and eat it too.
Ray directed it.
Better than Queen of the Damned. Queen of the Damned.
Queen of the Damned is garbage.
People love that because there's a
Really?
Deftones song that plays while they bang in a bathtub. I don't care. I love the Deftones, but you're not going to get me to like. I
don't think anybody likes that movie.
No,
they like Aaliyah.
They like Aaliyah, and they like the sexual scene of the rose petals in the bathtub while Deftones plays. But I am like,
Movie's fucking terrible, dude.
but like I'm just saying, like
That was an HBO regular. That movie's garbage. There's the scene where Lestat, who's played by who in it?
Stuart Townsend.
God, fucking Stuart Townsend. Yeah. You can go dig his career up underneath the toilet.
I miss Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise was a better Lestat.
Way better Lestat. Because Stuart Townsend is playing like I'm like the Marilyn Manson of vampires. He has that like concert, and like the vampires like rushing around. He's like pulling heads off in that.
Yeah, it's
really dumb.
That movie.
I'm sure the book was good.
No, I watched that. So I've watched that movie, and I was just like, man, it's so like. Aside from Aaliyah chewing on all the scenes, who by the way is in the movie and then immediately removed from it.
Yeah, like she's not in it much. The only reason why it was because Aaliyah died,
Yeah.
and they're like, "This is her last film." They were all just like Akasha, Queen of the Damned, and it's like she's
in
barely
it for like 10 minutes,
She's
and
not
then
in it at all.
and then she gets. They all bite her, and she vanishes and turns into dust or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
she turns
dumb.
into a statue.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of it all. But like, I remember watching the movie and be like, the action scenes are dumb and like the acting is dumb. It feels like it was made before Blade. That's how bad it is.
And it came out very much 2002. It came out the same year as Blade 2.
Yeah, Blade 2 is the far superior vampire movie. amongst those two.
Exceedingly.
Yeah.
But it's like from there,
But
Jonathan Davis did work on the soundtrack. It's corn out the ass,
Yeah,
literally.
The soundtrack's great. I'm not gonna lie, but like,
I mean, it's great.
it's great if you love like new metal,
Right.
And like if you're into that,
It
shit.
is goofy.
Yeah.
Like it's really goofy considering how self-serious it is.
Yes.
I'm okay with that in Blade.
Yeah.
The Crystal Method, Name of the Game by Crystal Method drops in that fight in Blade 2, and it works beautifully. It's a great mic drop.
Yeah.
When a movie takes itself super seriously and Stuart Townsend singing like Jonathan Davis, it's silly.
It takes itself so seriously, and it does nothing to earn that style.
No.
Because nothing ever happens, and like Lestat's just he's so boring.
Yeah.
Like he's so boring in it. Like he doesn't do anything. Like I remember like, and he's so over the top. Like I wish that we got a Queen of the Damned or like a what's the other one? The Vampire Armand.
Yeah.
Is another one of her books or whatever. Like I want an Anne Rice series that's like as slavish.
Maybe
as
this
devoted. 'Cause I read
series
Interview
will-
with a Vampire when I was like 13 years old or whatever.
It's an awakening.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good.
It's good
She's
to
a
read.
good writer. She was a
And
good writer. Yeah.
I wish that like Queen of the Damned is such a bad movie that it's hard to fully encapsulate how bad it is. And
But
people
after-
like it because she's in it for like I don't know 11 minutes.
Right.
But aside from that, it's garbage.
It's garbage. So that kind of killed vampires for a bit, I think. That because there was also around 2001 was the exceptional movie Shadow of the Vampire, the fake making of Nosferatu with Willem Dafoe playing Max Schreck. That's a great movie.
And isn't John Malkovich in it?
John Malkovich plays Murnau.
Yeah.
He plays FW. That's a good movie. I do recommend that one. Vampires die for a little bit. Blade 3 is not well received, and then we kind of continue on.
Then we get Twilight, and that's
and then we get Twilight, and then all the old vampire people are like, "This sucks," and all the kids are like, "Well, too fucking bad. It made $1 billion. There's nothing you can do about it."
And then we got the Vampire Diaries, which is the exact same plot, but instead of a vampire.
And then True Blood, they're like, "We got to dig into these."
Just Twilight, but more titties.
Twilight, but way more interesting and a lot more creature lore.
Yeah.
There are fairies and stuff in that,
Yeah.
but also it's fun. It's more fun. It's more silly. It's more tongue in cheek.
I'm just waiting for this. I'm just waiting to have my cake and eat it too. I want to have my cake and eat it too. I want to have
now you know
dark, gothic, mysterious vampires that are sexy and romantic, but also kick ass, take names, and have a bunch of crazy, mysterious, mystical lore.
This is a bad time for you right now because the best vampires going right now are What We Do in the Shadows.
They're all right. I like that show.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's where
comedy show.
vampires are right now. Is like because that crew and everything is so fun. We don't want to have super serious vampires.
Don't tell me what I can and can't have.
I'm not saying you can't have it. I'm just saying that's like
I will have it.
I'm just thinking about Matt Perry now.
Anyway, I love Matt Perry.
You really are the most devious bastard in New York City. He can't deliver a single line in one way, and I love it to death.
I love Matt
You really were my buddy, but if you decide to have another buddy, I will understand.
I remember me and him had a very tumultuous sexual relationship the last time he was. I just remember.
Yeah, tumultuous sexual relationship.
Anyway, this has been a movie date with Rob and Matt, a podcast for people who like movies but don't want to be too smug about it. You can find us on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and all the places where podcasts are. Leave us some recommendations and comments on our YouTube videos. You want to argue? You think Queen of the Damned is great? Argue in the comments.
Bring it on.
Let me know.
Let me see
I'm not
the
afraid of
content.
you. I'm not afraid of you people.
Well, and I'm not afraid of you either.
Matt's terrified of you.
He said I just want everyone to be my friend. I want confrontation. But I would like to have communication, content, connection.
But I thrive on confrontation. So if you want to
You're a
argue,
very good arguer. You
bring it into the comments and let's battle it out.
Yeah, if anybody comments, it's Rob. It's Rob taking over the account and getting them keyboard fired.
Oh
up.
yeah, let me tell you something, you son of a bitch. No.
I did not.
Anyway, we will see you guys next time.
Take care.
Bye bye.